Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmit, and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
I wasn't.
You weren't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that. I'm Haley, Hershey out of sheer force of habit.
Okay, and this is A Clash of Kings, chapters 30 and 31, Arya and Catelyn. In these chapters, Arya becomes the ghost of Harrenhal, and we witness a clash of kings? For real?
Like a slap fight of kings, mostly.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. We are very giggly today. It's looking to be looks like it'll be a promising episode. Yes, that's the phrase.
We're doing great. We're doing great. Everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, words are working.
Yeah, words are wording.
Good thing we're really casual about it. So before we start anything, Harmit, I remember I'm gonna ask you at the beginning of every episode who died in these chapters, and you're gonna answer.
That.
You're gonna answer that.
Somehow, you know what? This is gonna be a worse segment for me than even the 30-second summaries. Cause okay, who died? Did someone die? Okay, wait. Okay, we had Arya. Did somebody die in Arya's chapter? Nobody died in Arya's chapter. People that we thought were dead.
Haley's giving you a hint.
Did people die? Who died?
Don't you remember the whole? Okay,
wait.
What's
give me
the
a second.
Big thing in this.
Give me a second.
In fairness, I can only remember one of their names, but it was two people.
Who was the second person?
Wait,
no, don't. Harmit has to say this.
Wait. People died? Which chapter?
Arya, honey.
Okay, there was she was there, then there was
she was there.
Yeah, she is in fact at Harrenhal as we established.
Oh my gosh, I cannot remember.
Oh my god. 3 names? None of that? Did you read the right chapter?
I think so.
Literally, what happens at the end of this chapter? Why is she the ghost in Harrenhal?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Chadwick? Is that his name?
That is not his name.
Churwick? Something. It's something.
Chiswick. It's Chiswick. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Chiswick. And then... Right. Okay, but he's the only one who's died so far, right? Because she hasn't given the other names
I think Haley's thinking of Lord Serwyn. Is that
the other
dude?
Yeah, he kind of died off screen, but a lot of shit.
Did Chiswick. So did Chadwick. We have to call him Chad from now on. He is such a Chad, though.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh! I think, in my defense, I was trying to block him out because
he's the worst.
He's the worst, and I think my mind was just like, nope, I don't care. Move, you know?
But you didn't even remember it happening.
Okay, I told you, I'm not gonna until my memory does this. It happens. Okay.
I'm so glad I've introduced this segment. This is only our second episode doing this because I only recently realized that this segment will bear some very sweet fruits later on.
Yeah, no, this is honestly the comedic value is incredible, but this is kind of mean to poor Harmit because, in the books, there's I've seen the show and I've read the books and there's so many characters in the books, man. There's too many. There's too many to keep track of.
But if you just read the chapter, you should know who died.
Okay, you know what? If you have a memory like mine, you won't. Okay, you won't.
All right.
I only remembered one.
Yeah.
No, it is going to be funny, though. Sorry.
No, of course. I'm just so looking. Okay. All right. So that's the person that died. Those are the two people who died in Arya's chapter. Did anyone die in not Renly's, Catelyn's?
I really don't think so.
That peach got demolished.
No. Nobody. Wait.
Yeah. I think that's it for this episode.
Because they start off there, and then
like hope of things getting better died. Renly and Stannis's get along shirt died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been talking for 7 minutes and we haven't even gotten to anything yet. Okay, let's sorry, Haley, what were you gonna say?
I mean, this is pretty standard for I'm from the restricted section, by the way. We're a critical Harry Potter analysis podcast, emphasis on critical, and it usually takes us about like 10 to 15 minutes to get started for you, so you're doing great.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so our next segment is I get Harmut to summarize each chapter in 30 seconds.
This is gonna be great, considering I couldn't even remember that somebody died.
Yeah, you couldn't remember the main thrust of Arya's chapter. Okay, hang on. Let me get my watch. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Arya's at Harrenhal. She's working in the little the place, and Hot Pie's in the kitchen, and she's like doing her thing, and oh my gosh, what happens? Okay, so she's there, and like Sir Armory, what's his name? I don't know. The people come in,
Amory Lorch,
and she overhears like the freaking story, and she's like, "What the fuck? Get this guy killed!" Because the other dude, the prisoner dude, whose name starts with a J, was also showed up, who she had, like, freed back in the day, you know, a couple chapters ago. Wow, I said nothing. Catelyn. Okay, Catelyn, so they're at Storm's End, and Catelyn, you know, accompanied Renly, and she has her people as well, and they're there, and Renly's like, power play, I'm gonna be the last one to show up, so Stannis shows up, and she sees, like, the Red Woman, and she sees, like, the whole thing, and she's like, what is Stannis wearing? That is not his sigil, what is going on? And she's like, hi, Stannis. Stannis is like, you know, sucks that your husband died, but I don't really care, honestly. And they're just like verbally sparring, and then Renly comes in, and they're verbally sparring, and it's a complete waste of time. Did not need to happen.
That's a minute.
I honestly, that covered a lot of the
second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Arya, it's a hard one to summarize because at the beginning it's just her like thinking about things. Like,
so I was like, what do I say? What do I not say? And then I was like, I need to just move on from all of it because I don't know what to say.
No, it's hard to even really get like a timeline down with Arya because so little is happening in scene. You're getting so much of like just stuff she's overheard over the course of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, thinking on the chapter, I think just, like, the biggest thing that just stuck out to me was just the story, and everything else just flooded my mind, because it was just so, like, it was so
horrifying
reading that I couldn't, I was like, then I went to Catelyn's chapter, and I was, like, still thinking about that, but I couldn't think about anything else from Arya's chapter. It was a mess.
Yeah, that's fair. For the first time was reading this series, I gave Harmut the content warning, and it was for that story.
And I remember I was like, what do you mean? We have seen so much rape in this book. Like, why are you giving me a warning now? And now I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's like the stuff that these guys like brag to each other about doing is always going to be like particularly shitty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's just telling a funny story, you know?
Yeah. Ha.
Hilarious.
Okay. Well, speaking of hilarious, let's get into it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's okay, Haley. You can laugh.
More to laugh. It's fine.
All right. So, Harmut, you're gonna, guide us through this chapter, and I have this chapter is so full of details. These two chapters had like my favorite things, details and politics, and it's like I just want to inhale them both, you know.
Yeah.
So I will just be popping in with the details. Haley, you feel free to talk whenever you have something to say.
All
Cool?
right. Sounds good.
All right, Harmouth, get us started.
So we start the chapter, and the Wailing Tower. That was the name I forgot. I was like, oh, the tower thing. So
you were like,
Arya...
she's in the place doing the thing with the people.
That's pretty much what I said. Okay, so Arya is, working at the Wailing Tower, and her job is pretty much just like cleaning, and like vigorous cleaning. She's not just like, oh, like, like clean the shelf. It's like, no, like she has to clean this like freaking building that because we learned that like only the bottom part of the building was being used recently, and so she has to pretty much clean everything that's been unoccupied for like several years.
Yeah, just like 80 years, isn't it, of like stratified filth. It's like trying to clean a New York subway.
It reminded me actually of in Order of the Phoenix when the gang has to clean the
decaying
the
house.
black house, because it's the black family house.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's number 12 Grimald Place.
Yes,
it's Grimald Place. I don't know if I'm getting the number
12
right.
sounds right.
I'm pretty sure it's 12.
Yeah. No, but like it's just been empty for decades, and it's like all this like gross magic stuff has moved in and made it like magically gross.
Mm-hmm. But here it's just gross.
Here it's just like 80 years worth of neglect, gross, which is still it's still bad.
It's everything, but the only kind of, I guess, like sense of relief is like she kind of like has food to eat now. She doesn't have to continue eating bugs, which is nice.
Silver lining.
She's moving up in the world.
Yeah, she's doing something. And she says this line that kind of like broke my heart. She's talking about how she hasn't really befriended any of her like fellow like co-captives / co-workers, I guess. And she's like, like I don't really want to talk to them because that only made it hurt worse when they died.
Yeah.
I was like, Miss Ma'am, you are 10.
Yeah.
You are 10, and this is
no, there's there's a lot of stuff, like chapters that are specifically from like Arya's perspective, and also like Bran and Bran, like they're kind of the two youngest characters. Like stuff from their perspectives tends to be like the most heartbreaking because like they're so young that like they're not really thinking of it like with a lot of tragedy or like weight behind it. They're just like, oh, this is just my worldview now. This is like I've now experienced this in my formative years, and this is just how I deal with everything now.
Yeah. And you can really like, I mean, we've seen this in the previous, Arya like dragging you down chapters. That's what I think of them as now. But, like even in this one, I just felt so much like she's just the amount of the degree to which she's desensitized now is like, it just hurts. I'm like, man, you're supposed to like feel stuff and like live your life, and you're literally a child. But it's like, if you were to try and feel all that instead of churning it into rage as she's doing, that would probably like tear her apart. So I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah, it's extremely painful to watch happen. But this is, I think this chapter is kind of like her turning point of like doing something about it.
And it's the first one in a while where it like there's something kind of hopeful at the end, there's like something she's gained happening.
She's gained an advantage. Like I think all of her chapters up to this point are very hopeless, like just in this book specifically, just it's just like bad to worse to worse to worse to worse, and this is the first time she's had a weapon, like something like
literally
an advantage,
the first time
like
she's
you said.
had anything. She's had anything, really.
But and she's a resourceful fucking kid, so
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, I do want to note that Hot Pie's in the kitchens, and Arya could have been in the kitchens, but she was like, oh, I want to tend the horses, and then to punish her for speaking her mind, the people were like, no, we're gonna make you work for Wheeze, who is the worst. So yay.
Gosh, this man.
And Hot Pie, he tries to sneak her food, but he gets caught because he's not very good at sneaking. And they beat him with a big wooden spoon, and I was like, oh man, why?
Good on him for trying, though. I wouldn't have expected that from him, but I'm glad that he like proved me wrong.
Yeah, he's a true friend, that one.
Yeah.
Although he keeps calling her Arry, even though she now goes by Weasel.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so blah blah blah. Oh, and she talks about just like how massive this castle
Yeah.
is. It's like 3 times the size of Winterfell with towers that are just like not like you can't even compare them
Yeah.
to the towers she's seen before. And
Yeah.
it's just so huge that they're constantly looking for servants. Like it's just so massive that it's it's hard to maintain. Like it's such an impractical castle.
Yeah, well, that seems to be kind of like politically part of it. Whenever Harrenhal has changed hands historically, it's always like, it's almost like an insult. Like it's a little bit of a reward, but it's almost like an insult
Right,
because
now you gotta get you get to
yeah,
clean this mess. Yeah.
now you
Oh my
have to
gosh.
deal with it's like winning the lottery and now you have to pay rich people taxes, but like this is a very limited amount of money at the end of the day. It's like that, where like
Yeah.
have fun with the property tax, have fun with the upkeep. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. And then oh wait, Harmouth's doing this. You go. I keep
Okay,
taking over.
That's all good. So yeah, she's like thinking about all these different things, and as she's talking about the castle, she's also saying like pretty much all these like rumors that she's heard, because she like in this chapter she's like comparing herself to a mouse hiding in the crevices of this really gigantic kind of castle. I was going to say palace, and then I was like, this is not a palace. This castle. And so like one of the things she talks about is like people are saying that Lord Tywin plans to restore Harrenhal to glory and like make it his new seat once the war's over. And then she also learns all of these like little like gossipy things about the people there. And then
Yeah.
also Lord Tywin.
Hang on. I want to talk about some things in between. So she at one point wonders what would happen if she went up to Tywin and confessed to being Arya Stark.
Ooh.
And she's like, I wonder if they would even believe me. What do you think? Do you think they would believe her?
I think if she went up to Tywin, I think he would like give it a thought. I think if she went up to anybody else, they'd be like,
he would probably test her in some way, like prove it.
I think Tywin would take it seriously. I don't think he's stupid.
Also, Tywin has something to gain by her being Arya.
Yeah, exactly. The other people would just be like, go fucking clean, like get lost.
Yeah, no, I think Tywin is like he's capable of kind of like seeing through weirdness to like think critically, and like his critical thinking in that instance would be like, why would some random kid from just like some random refugee kid from some town that's been burned down now even know who Arya Stark is?
Yeah.
Like she probably has an accent of some kind. Like she definitely like there's like a northern like ethnic phenotype basically, like where she does look northern, so I mean it wouldn't be he would definitely test her, but I don't think he wouldn't believe her. But like the main issue is just getting close enough to even talk to him.
That's true, because like what's she gonna say to the person who like the guard guarding his tower?
Right,
she's gonna be like, I have to talk to Lord Tywin.
Yeah. It's important. It's about me.
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. So she's talking about how Wheeze is terrible because he always knows what you're thinking. He's just got them terrorized, all of these kids. And she's got her prayer, her list of names. And this is like the first time she's like, oh, I gotta remember these names, because if I forget them, how will I get to kill them? So like so far it wasn't made clear that this is like her list of people she wants to kill, but like very clear now. And oh yeah, there's the rumors you were talking about, like, oh, there's pretty Pia. I think in the audiobook the dude calls her Paya, but he also says Patire, so I'm gonna go with Pia. So yeah, she's sleeping with every knight in the castle. There's one of the jailer's wife no, yeah, one of the jailer's wives is not wives, like
The
I think
wife
there's
of
only
one of the jailers.
yes, that's the way to phrase it. Is pregnant, but the jailer is not the father. It's like some knight
Tea.
or this singer called White Smile Watt, which is quite a name.
Oh god.
Um Also, the cooks hate Sir Harris Swift, so they spit in all of his food.
Yes,
Uh,
I respect it.
that was I enjoyed that little thing. And she also overhears a messenger talking about the fact that Tywin got a raven saying that Joffrey was a bastard and not the rightful
See,
king.
I wonder, like, does Tywin, like, know? But, like, because
Wait, no, no,
here's
no.
what I'm
Complete that sentence. What does Tywin know?
no,
What?
like, know about, like, Cersei and Jaime sleeping together slash Joffrey not being, like, Robert's son.
What do you think?
I see, this is tough. Because on one side, we've established that, like, Tywin isn't stupid, you know?
Wait,
But
rephrase that.
oh, right. We've established that Tywin is not.
He's very smart.
Yeah, he's very smart. Like, there's a reason he's in this position of power that he's in, you know? Like, he's very
hmm
capable. And, like, but at the same time, and, like, everybody so far that we know that's, like, capable has figured it out pretty easily. But at the same time, like,
Everybody
I feel like he
capable
would be
has been
so pissed
around
off.
them, though. Like,
I know.
everybody who we know
Right, that's
knows has
true.
been in King's Landing for a while.
That's true, and he hasn't
Yeah.
seen them in together in a while. But like, yeah, so that's why I'm like, okay, of course he knows. But then the reason I think he doesn't know is because he would be so fucking mad. Like,
At whom? Who would he be mad at?
Cersei, probably.
Okay, but how would we know he's mad at Cersei?
We wouldn't.
Yeah, I think this is a case of an intelligent person turning a blind eye, like, without realizing it, because that does
Yeah,
happen.
it doesn't suit him, so he chooses not to.
Like, this is
Yeah.
like, this is something that you get in a lot of, like, a lot of wealthy families are kind of this way about, like, is like, not even about something horrible, just about, like, stuff they don't want to deal with. Like, if you, like, if you're in a wealthy family and, like, you've got a gay kid and, like, it's kind of obvious, like, the whole family will for years and years and years be like, oh no, he's just a late bloomer and just hasn't found the right girl yet, and, like, it's fine, guys. Just like, this is obviously a different situation, but this is
Yeah.
a guy who just
So
the
something in
damage,
him knows, but he never acknowledges it.
like, the damage that this would do would just be so immeasurable on every
hmm
possible level that, like, he can't even entertain the idea. He's like, I don't have that little control over my own kids. Of course this isn't the case, but, like, to everyone else it's like, she hated her husband. Joffrey, like, all of her husband's bastards look exactly like him, and all of his trueborn kids don't. That seems
hmm
kind of weird. Everyone else, it's kind of obvious.
We've already established that there's like no healthy communication in this family
Oh God,
whatsoever.
no.
From their previous communications. So honestly, yeah, I can totally see what you're saying, because they do not do that at all.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
These are people who don't talk about anything of emotional importance ever, so it would never even it wouldn't even have come up.
Yeah, totally.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's also heard talk of, like, she's heard the Lannister bannermen talk about how, this war isn't looking so good. In previous chapters, we've talked about how, like, Robb is in a precarious situation because he's, like, surrounded by Lannisters, but so are the Lannisters. They're surrounded by Starks.
Yeah.
And, oh, of course, and also they're surrounded by Beric Dondarrion and his band.
Yeah.
I love this man so much. And we
Yeah,
haven't even
and we
met him.
hear he's like, oh yeah, this Lorch killed him. No, wait, the mountain killed him. No, not
Twice.
once, but twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's just all these stories going around about this guy, and we haven't seen him since like the middle of a Game of Thrones. All
Yeah.
we've heard are these stories of him bothering the Lannisters, which I love.
Yeah.
And maybe possibly being immortal, who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and we find out about the bloody mummers,
mhm.
which is like the they're like a group of sellswords, and they kind of show up, and I'm assuming the goat thing is like their sigil slash thing. But then like this is so weird because I don't think so far we've heard of like sellswords like banding together to do something, you know, or like
well, they're a
having,
company. I guess we haven't. Sorry, I'm thinking of like other things, and I'm like, yeah, we have, but those things haven't happened yet. So,
okay, well,
yeah, you're right. This is the first time that we've heard of a company of sellswords.
It's the first time we've heard of mercenaries unionizing.
Yeah,
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's cool to know that this is a thing that they do. So we meet their captain.
And some of them are riding zebras.
Notoriously a bad idea, but okay. It's zebras, and like there's, oh god, what are they fucking called? There's like a type of donkey in like parts of like the Central Asia. Onager? I don't know.
Maybe.
It's
I don't
it's
know.
zombies and like this one type of
Zombies? Did you say?
Yes,
Yes,
zombies.
I would not want to ride
Yes.
a zombie.
Also a bad
fantasy
idea.
series.
Zebras and this one type of donkey are like the two types of equids that it's just no one can like, don't ride them. It's not, people have tried, it's not a good idea. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these people have shown up in style. They got the zebras, they got the like fun like colors, like they're doing their thing and they're vibing.
Yeah, well, they were like a bunch of different like ethnicities.
They're just from like they're from across the narrow sea, but like from all over across like we've got some Taroshi.
Like there's a
Dothraki
Dothraki person who's got bells in his hair. There's like Tyroshi, because they're notorious for having dyed hair. Yeah, exactly.
There's guys in like the feather cloaks. I want to know what I feathered how. I want to know. Like, is it like feathers all the way down? Is it like feathers on the fringe? I want to understand.
What's the design?
Yeah, what's the design? I like that never comes like sorry if this is spoilers for you, Harmit, but like that never like comes up in the show. So like I just want to know what a feathered cloak would even look like.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to add that to my Google later list.
Oh my gosh.
And if I find something, I'll share it. Okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of people, and their leader is Lord Vargo Hoat. And Wheeze, sorry, their names are so similar. Wheeze warns Weasel. I'm doing the thing where I'm like, I can't tell. Wheeze warns Weasel, got it, that she better call him Lord, even though he's not a lord, if she wants to keep all her parts. So that's lovely.
We love a good thread.
I mean, at least he warned her, I guess. Point for Wheeze.
I guess.
I'm reluctant to give this guy anything.
I mean, this is the not as shitty as you could have been awards.
Right.
That's such a great way to describe it. I'm gonna keep that in mind for a later reference. Yeah. So, and then the Brave Companions, which is their official name, after they arrive, they cause a bunch of trouble among the Lannister men or with them, against them. I don't know. I don't know prepositions.
They're not like friends.
It's just all these like,
they don't get along.
I'm so manly and strong, and I'm gonna fight you, and it's whatever. Do your thing.
Yeah. So
kill each other amongst yourselves, so the other people don't have to deal with you. This is great.
Do what Stannis and Renly are doing so that we can all be happy.
Yeah, pretty much. But I have a question.
Sure.
So when they settle this fight, they embrace and kiss and swore to love each other always.
Yeah, this is like such a cartoony thing.
This is like a tradition that they have. This is so odd. Like, for them, you know what I mean?
I mean, like, okay, so one of George R.R. Martin's, like, big things is that, like, he's going for, like, a medieval Europe vibe, and, like, to his credit, that doesn't always mean, like, what people think of medieval Europe being like based on what they, like, learned in high school, because, like, the whole, like, Western society, men can't have any kind of physical affection with other men in any way of any kind at any time for any reason, otherwise it is always going to be gay. Like, that's pretty recent.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's not even what's throwing, I think, Harmouth and I off. It's the fact that this is like a thing you would get your kids to do, like, you know, like siblings fighting. You're like, oh, you know,
go hug each
give
other,
yourself
you love
exactly
each other.
Hug each other and tell how much you love each other. This is like such a
no, it's fully performative, and like it's openly performative, and I think it's supposed to be, and like to like the audience reading this, it feels extra because it's like two dudes chilling in the chilling in the courtyard, kissing because their guys killed each other and they're not gay.
Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I got there in the end.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay. So we hear about the Starks a little bit. Well, not the Starks, the Northerners. So Roose Bolton has apparently moved down to the Ruby Ford of the Trident now. Harmouth, you got a map, like, if you want to really see where he is. Like, I think he was up by the Twins earlier, and he's just moved further south and is kind of closing in on Tywin, and that's why they're all nervous about it.
Right. But they're like, oh, he's not going to cross until Robb gets there. So
yeah. And this is when Arya learns that Robb is at Riverrun. And she's all like, oh my gosh, that is so much closer than Winterfell. If I could only get away. And she's like, oh, I just want to see my family, even Sansa. It's... Yeah.
Every time these kids think about, like, what they'll do if and when they ever see each other, it's just, like, it gets progressively more depressing.
Yeah. Okay, but she says, like, and I want to see Jon, too. Has she just, like, forgotten that, like, she'll never see Jon?
Well, she can still want to see Jon, even if he's up at the wall, and we know beyond the wall at this point.
Right. Okay.
I mean, like, Uncle Brandon came back to visit every once
Benjen.
in a while. Benjen, god damn it!
You almost had it. There's a lot of Brandons.
There's a lot of fucking Brandons!
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so yeah, Benjen would visit, so why wouldn't Jon? If only she could get to Winterfell.
Or at least Riverrun, wherever that is. She doesn't have a map.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear about the captives that
that
were taken by Tywin during the Green Fork battle with our friend
Green
Bolton.
Fork battle.
Sorry, the battle
I know.
of the Green Fork.
Yeah, but you said Green Fork battle, and I saw like somebody fighting with a green fork, like a fork you eat with.
Right.
That's a duel I want to see.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
they've got the green. Tywin's got the red. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Just sparring with some
the
forks.
Captives kind of sit at like their own table, and they kind of have freedom, like, of the castle grounds, because they vowed like not to try and escape or anything. She's like, ooh, they vowed not to escape, but they didn't vow not to help me escape. This is a loophole. And she's kind of like slightly hopeful at this point for a bit. And
so let's talk about the captives first. So there's 3 Freys and a 4th bastard Frey, because you can never have enough Freys. And they get ransomed. Like, somebody comes.
Okay, why though? Like, there's so many Freys. Why do they like care? no offense, but like,
I mean,
yeah.
their dad probably doesn't. Quite frankly, he kind of sucks.
But they've got like their direct parents or siblings
right.
probably care.
I guess,
Hopefully.
yeah. I guess because the only ones we've met so far are like, I'm gonna fight you, and they're like 40th in the line of succession, you know?
That's
Like,
all of them. That's literally all of them.
So I was just like, why would they like help each other, you know? Because it's like one less person. I don't know. Like none of them
Yeah,
seem
but
to
like
be
when
like,
you've
I
got
love
40,
you know?
what is one person gonna make a
Right.
difference there?
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
So then there's a couple, so those are the Freys are like river lords. So they get ransomed off. But the northern words, can somebody say it for me, please?
Northern?
They, but S at the end.
Northerners?
Yes, thank you. They are not ransomed. And there's a fat one who's always, haunting the kitchens, she says, which I'm like,
Like
why
what
would
else?
you?
What else are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Like,
You know, where fat people go, the kitchens!
But this is like supposed to be an indicator that this is one of the Manderleys. We
did not
heard
get
about him
that.
earlier. Like his dad was like, "Oh yeah, my son is captive at Harrenhal," and like we see him
right,
this
right.
time.
Mm.
And there's another one.
Was he the one who was like being helpful? Who was like, "Hey, like, I'll do all these things, but like, can we eventually get my son back?" Or am I thinking of
Yes,
someone
yeah.
else? Okay,
This
yeah,
is the son he
gotcha.
was talking about.
Right.
So he came to the harvest feast at Winterfell, Haley, just to refresh your memory. Wyman Manderley did, and this is one of his sons.
Okay.
There's another fierce bearded young man who likes to walk the battlements alone in a black cloak.
Oh
And
my god, he's so brooding and
yeah,
mysterious.
him and John will get along.
Oh my god, right?
But so his cloak's got white sun, so I think he's a Karstar because that's like their sigil. So that's that guy. And then she remembers Lord Servin. What was his name? What's his first name? Does it say? Doesn't matter. So Lord Servin is one of the other captives that she remembers seeing at Winterfell all the time because they were like nearby. And she's like, if only he saw me, he would know who I was and he would help me. But lo and behold, like a day later or
Homie dies.
whenever, one morning, she comes upon some Silent Sisters taking his body away, and she's like, "Oh, that's
God,
my last hope."
Fucking shit. There goes that plan.
Yeah. She's like, he couldn't even help himself, you stupid mouse, and that line broke my heart.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, she has a lot of like negative self-talk in this chapter.
Yeah.
No, yeah, until the end where I guess she feels empowered at the end, and there's like, she can do something about this shitty situation. Although she can't escape it. That's not a wish he can grant.
She's always like comparing herself to like different things. Like kind of throughout a lot of her arcs, like she was like she's a mouse right now. Sometimes she'll think of herself as a wolf, and like this is the chapter where she starts thinking of herself as something more than like she was comparing herself to a sheep earlier this chapter. And this is where she starts seeing herself as something dangerous.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, somebody in control over her situation, as opposed to just like things happening to her and her having to deal with it.
Right.
Yeah, and then she talks about all like the rumors there are about what Tywin's gonna do. He's gonna go south. No, he'll go west. No, he'll go north. No, he'll go to Lady Erin and marry her, and like all these like. I'm like, good luck. Good luck trying that, Tywin.
I mean, if you think it's gonna gain you political power that's worth dealing with her as a person, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't, but whatever. If you're politically ambitious, sure, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay, sorry, I just had this thought. So in the next chapter, Catelyn talks, or is it no? Stannis is like, oh yeah, the Lannisters poisoned John Arryn, and I was like, what if he poisoned himself just to get away from Lysa?
I
Stop!
mean,
Oh my god.
listen, have you ever had a friend just like dating someone who's the worst? Just
Yeah.
that's we never even meet John Aaron in like the text, and that's still kind of how I feel.
Oh
God, you poor
my
man.
gosh. Oh my god.
But to be fair, he was like a grandfather, and she's like 25, 30, I don't know. So like she got married to him when she was like 15. Catelyn was 16 when she got married, and they got married like the same day. So
Yeah.
Lysa was younger, and then she gets like hitched to this guy who is much older than her dad.
Yeah.
It's not, she's
No,
not
it's
in a fun situation either.
no, absolutely no one is in a good situation, but like if she was ending up with like someone else, like would she have been that
Yeah,
much
like
less
she is who
insufferable?
she
Like,
is. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm sure being unhappy didn't help, but
Yeah. Because
Mhm.
Catelyn, like, you know, before we met Liza, I had, like, before that whole thing where Catelyn, like, went to her or whatever, like, I remember, like, she would always describe Lysa, like, so nicely, and, like, oh my gosh,
Well,
my
even when
sister.
Catelyn meets her, she's like, "Oh my god, this is not the
Not,
sister I
yeah,
remember,"
exactly.
because they
Yeah,
haven't met in
so,
like 15 years or something,
yeah.
and you know,
like
Yeah.
oh, you're
So
unhinged
either
now.
way,
yeah,
but also, like, when you're, I think also, like, with your siblings when you're younger, you kind of dismiss some of those things too sometimes.
Yeah,
So,
like,
like,
oh,
maybe
she'll grow out of being as
yeah,
silly and flighty as she is, and like she just
yeah,
never did.
yeah.
yeah, it just
This
got
is like one
worse.
of those what ifs, like,
Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. Okay,
yeah.
back to this chapter. So blah blah blah. Tywin's like just seen around the place, but he never like she can never get close enough to him to like really. She's never really met him or seen him in. I was gonna say in person, but like whatever.
Up close.
Up close and personal.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's like, he has a lord's face, and that's all she kind of knows about him.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then
Sir Amory Lorch.
Lorch. Yeah,
Yes,
and
Sir Amory
his
Lorch shows up, our
Mhm.
best friend from back in the day. And with him are the three prisoners that Arya had helped escape.
Yeah.
So we got our friends Rorge, Biter, and Jaqen.
Yeah, Jaqen, Jacket. I don't know. What do you say, Haley?
It was pronounced Jaqen in the show, so I always went with that.
Okay, I think in my head I first always said Jaqen. I don't know why. Like it
too.
If I'd read it first, I think I would pronounce it the same way, but like I was introduced to the show first, so I already
was
knew
as
him
well,
as
but I
Jaqen.
don't know why yeah, it doesn't matter. So
It's
that
so
guy.
weird.
Let's just call him Genie. He's the genie of this chapter.
No, that's
He's the death genie.
Pretty much.
That's
yeah.
true though. I wonder if that's what his name means, because like it's just some made up.
Oh my.
Okay, so he's there and they pass by her. Apparently nobody notices her.
And at this point she's kind of like, man, they're on that side. I should have let them die. What did I do? What am I doing? Whatever, it's fine. And then she like goes to bed early and she's like, ugh, whatever. And as she's asleep, she feels a hand clamped down over her mouth. She's like, what the fuck? So, she wakes up, and our lovely friend Jaqen is there, and he's like, a girl says nothing. A girl keeps her lips closed, no one hears, and friends may talk in secret. Yes, I don't know what that voice was, but it happened.
He's got this, like, third person way of talking that is just... Yeah, it's interesting.
He's like, oh, you're a girl. Or he's like, a boy becomes a girl. And she's like, I have always been a girl. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting lost. Pretty much he's like, yo, I owe you, because you freed the three of us. You took us from, like, God's grasp.
Okay,
so
this
now
is
I need
what
to
he
give
says.
3 people to God's.
The red god has his due, and only death may pay for life. This girl took 3 that were his. This girl must give 3 in their place. Speak the names, and a man will do the rest.
Genie.
So, yeah, and she's like, "Oh, take me to River Run," and he's like,
No,
"That's not what we're doing here."
No, I'm not repaying like a general debt. I'm repaying a death debt. This is
This
there's
is very
limits
specific.
here.
I'm
Yeah.
exclusively a death genie. That's all that I can do for you.
Yeah, and he's like, "Okay, think about it. See ya." And she can't really sleep that night, and
it's also interesting that like right before he woke her up, she was just like just Cash dreaming about wolves running around in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's an on-brand dream for you.
Yeah, running. She was dreaming of wolves running wild through the wood. Yeah, that's for sure. So she is a wolf at heart. I don't know.
Yeah. And then kind of the next day, she's like still thinking about all of that, and she's like, ooh. And like as she's working about it, she like all the people that she wants dead, she like sees their faces as she's cleaning the steps. She's like not cleaning, she's like wiping them away from existence in her mind.
Yeah. She's, thinking about who she should name. She thinks about, most of the people on her list are kind of like not here, so she doesn't really know how, like, we don't really know how this works. Is it just like any 3 people in the world, 3 people like nearby? Like, what are the parameters here?
We can assume
what?
He's not.
What do you assume?
He's not really a genie. Like, how is he gonna? Is he gonna like send a messenger to be like, "Hey, go kill this person on the other side of the world"?
You seem very certain that he's not a genie. Where do you get off thinking that?
Like, he's not explaining parameters.
Yeah, and he's not explaining them. Like I mean, who?
Yeah,
who
he
even,
hasn't given. He's just like 3 names.
He's not saying like I'll do the rest, but like he's not giving her like a timeline. There's no deadline
but he doesn't want her to be able to like, get him caught too. Like, imagine if she like got him to do it, and then she was like, "Oh, by the way, I overheard him telling."
But like they're in the middle of a war. She's got like a lot of names that are like relevant to that war, where she's like, maybe I could end this whole thing if I like, if he's legit, if he actually will, like, no matter what, one way or another, kill one of these, like anyone I name. Maybe I should just say Joffrey. Maybe I should just say Cersei and like win this war for my family. But also like, I want that. I want to kill these people.
Exactly.
Like some of these people I really personally want to do. And like, also, I don't know this guy. I don't trust this guy. So like, who's to say that if I give him a politically relevant name, it's not going to somehow make things worse? Like, she doesn't really want to like take an active role yet.
Yeah. So Harmut, let me ask you this. If you were Arya in this situation, who would you pick? And let's just say that it could be like anyone in the kingdom. Like, let's just say like anybody on her list can be killed. Okay. And we do believe that he will kill them. Like,
okay. And so this is Arya's perspective, so I can't like say people Arya doesn't know.
No, you're like working with the information that Arya has right now.
Actually,
personally.
No, I want both. I want to know, like, if you, as a person, were given wishes and you knew what you know.
That's too complicated. But like,
I know.
She's genre savvy, so like she knows she's in a story. Arya doesn't know she's in a story.
Okay, fine. Okay,
if
you were Arya,
because I don't want to think about that, because that makes me uncomfortable.
Okay,
like,
fine.
Trying to be like, who would I kill? Okay,
but I think Arya feels the same way, so that's relevant.
But like Arya's in a different, like, I am fortunate enough that I don't have to think about that. But like Arya's in a situation where she is. This is all she's got.
You didn't answer the question.
Anyway, okay, yes. Who would I kill if I was Arya? I would. As Arya, Joffrey, 100%. Joffrey, out, leave.
Okay, Joffrey. Got 2 more.
Clegane, because who else is gonna kill him?
Which Clegane? There's two of them.
Gregor? Question mark? No, Sandor. Sandor, that's his name.
Wait, Sandor is the Hound.
Oh, Gregor. So I
The
did
mountain.
say it right. And then
Yeah, so just say the mountain or the Hound.
Yes,
and,
okay.
That's easier to...
I feel better about saying Brandon earlier now.
Yeah, so mountain, because, like, who is going to be able to kill the mountain? You know, this is like we need a genie.
This is our opportunity. Let's take advantage of it. Yeah.
Joffrey, mountain, and
yeah, number 3 is a toughie.
Yeah, because it's like it's got to be like this one matters because it's the last one we got. Who else is on her list? Maybe let's make this. I mean, she really hates Cersei because, you know.
Yeah. So
Wolf.
Dunsen, Chiswick, Polliver, Raff the Sweetling, the Tickler, the Hound, Sir Gregor, Sir Amory, Sir Ilyn, Sir Meryn,
Wheeze.
Wheeze.
Wheeze is
he's
also
not
on
even
the
on
list.
her list.
No,
though.
he is. No, he made
Is
it on
oh,
the list.
He's the first one, right?
Yeah. No, he made it on after 3 days. It took him 3 days to make it onto her list.
I forgot about that. Okay,
Right,
so third one is Wheeze.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I think, like, even when we first met him, just his whole, like, you better be grateful for what we give you, that does not sit right with me. I'm like, y'all are, this is the bare minimum. This is the bare minimum working conditions. Okay, you could not be out here expecting her to be grateful for food. Like, okay, calm down. He just pisses me off. And just his abuse in this chapter, I was like, can you not?
Yeah.
Can you not set your dog on children?
Oh yeah, he does that. I forgot about
exactly.
A couple times.
Exactly. Yeah. See, all of that. He just
Okay, those are good choices.
I know, like, Cersei and all of them suck, but, like, he's directly doing the damage that we're, like, seeing, you know?
Yeah,
Cersei's, like, pulling the strings type stuff, so it's different.
I think I would do both of the first ones, but I would do Tywin, just to, like, take the biggest player out of the game kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, because he's smart and powerful, snake. So
yeah.
it's a bad combination for
But us. Wheeze is, like, a fair choice. Like, I completely understand. He is terrible, and he is here torturing her, you know?
Yeah. And then maybe she can go to the kitchen and pretend like she's been there all along, because Wheeze won't be there to know.
Fair enough.
Maybe. Yeah. Hopefully, if, like, Tywin's dead and Joffrey's dead and the mountain's dead, like, there's other things happening, you know, she's probably not still gonna be hanging around.
I forgot that we were killing other people and not just, like,
just really fixated on killing.
I got really into the idea of killing Wheeze, and I forgot that other people were dying too.
He does have, like, service industry manager vibes, doesn't he? Like, it's natural for, like, any of us living in the world that we live in to be like, oh, fuck that guy in particular.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But so then Gregor, you know, comes back with his fun little group, and
oh, and also, hang on, I just, one of the reasons, like, the mountain is on her list, and she's like, oh, but he's not here anymore, so I can't name him, but he's here now, so maybe, you know, she's got a couple more names left. Anyway, okay, continue.
Yeah. So then, Wheeze is like, okay, like, go see if they need anything. Like, I think he says, like, see if they have any clothes that need mending or whatever. And Arya kind of goes up, and she's like, okay, I'll, like, so as she goes up, Chiswick, that's his name, not Chadwick.
Chad
is there, and he's telling one of his hilarious stories, you know? And she's just kind of standing there, and she's like, okay, like, I don't want to interrupt, because that'll be bad for me, so I'll just sit here and listen. And she's standing there, and he's, you know, telling his lovely story, and so this story kind of, so after the Hands tournament, where the whole, you know, Clegane / Loras drama happened, after all that happened, they're, like, going back towards the south.
He calls Loras the king of pansies. Or no, not king, the knight of pansies.
Right.
We gotta get the rankings right.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so they're all kind of going back, and obviously Gregor is not in a good mood after that. He's not doing great. And they kind of stop at this alehouse, and the guy who I guess, like, owns the alehouse is, like, is kind of like just like talking a lot, and he's very talkative, and he's like talking about the tournament. He's like, "Hey, Gregor, like, how did you do?" And clearly, Gregor does not want to talk about that. Definitely not a great moment for any of them. And then as they're all kind of there, the dude's daughter is also there, like fetching them ale or whatever. And apparently she's like 13ish, I guess. And they pretty much start like harassing her. And there's this like younger knight there, and they're like, "Oh, you should like go rape her and then like be a man, you know, like do this thing." And then the girl's dad goes up to Sir, and or not Sir, I don't even want to call him that, he does not deserve that. Gregor. He goes up to Gregor and he's like, "Hey, like, can you make them stop? Like, like, that's my daughter."
Yeah.
And Gregor's like,
"No, and instead I'm going to rape her and have all of them rape her.
Yeah.
And have you thank me for it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna kill your son."
Oh yeah, that's
Right,
that was a thing in the middle of all that. Yeah, no, that was the content warning.
Yeah.
And like that, obviously, like, awful, horrendous, disgusting. But then on top of the way that it's described, and just like some of these lines pissed me the fuck off. Like, the girl was done fighting by the time I had her, but I wouldn't have minded a little wiggling. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the actual fuck?
Really gross.
No, it's the juxtaposition of like what's like the content of the story and the tone in which it's being told is really jarring.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know.
And it's I think the first, and I can't remember another instance in the series where it's like the perpetrator of the horrendous crime that is like telling the story as opposed to like sorry?
Like bragging about it?
Like it happens like a couple of times, but they're usually more plot relevant, I think. Because this is just like some random.
I was gonna say, this feels really like we did not need this level of graphic. Like, I don't know if this becomes relevant later on, but it doesn't feel relevant.
No, I think the only relevance of this is to make Arya as angry as you feel now, because like she's been like up to this point, Arya's spilled some blood, like, but it's mostly been in the heat of the moment or by accident. And this is like, I think the main thing she's kind of grappling with when Jaqen tells her, like, if you give me 3 names, I'll just kill them. Like, obviously there's the whole, like, I don't know you, I don't trust you element. There's the whole larger political implications element, but a big part of it for her, I think, is just, like, actually on purpose premeditated murder is kind of a hard thing to get yourself to. Even though Arya does, like, have that in her, like, she's had that impulse, even outside of, like, the moments when she actually has done violence. She's also been like, I should have just let you guys fucking burn, like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But
and this is the thing that tips her over the edge to choose, like, you know what? He deserves it. He deserves it. This is the guy, because this is the name.
Her action.
Yeah, this is the name that she gives Jaqen. This is the first name.
Yeah, and, otherwise you'd be like, oh, she's like a heartless killer. She's just, out here naming anybody. But, like, we totally get why she names this guy. So, it's a way to have Arya kind of embark on this, like, controversial, like, journey in a way. Because, like, she's out here killing people and, like, totally okay with it. But to still have her continue to be like the hero of the story,
right?
Because she's doing it for good reasons,
Yeah. So it starts her off in, like, with a step that feels extremely justified for how fucked up the motivation is. And sure enough, like, she gives Jaqen the name, and what, like 2-3 days later, this guy dies, and it looks like an accident.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say? I totally lost my train of thought.
I'm the ghost in Harrenhal, she thought. And that night, there was one less name to hate.
That's a rad chapter to end on, or like a rad. a rad line for the chapter to end on. There we go.
Yes,
Totally,
that's
yeah.
right.
I love George R. Martin's, like, he has a lot of those where, like,
endings,
those
chapter
endings, like, even the Catelyn ending too, like, what do we do now? Do we fight or do we pray? We pray. I was like, yeah, we do. I like his endings a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the man knows how to leave
that.
he knows how to leave a cliffhanger.
Right. Okay, sorry. To bring us back to the story, I remembered what I was going to say. It was, we have talked in the past about how violence against women in these stories is way more, not only is it prevalent, but it's also much more, it's described in much more detail than any other kind of violence. And people were like, "Oh, no, sorry." some listeners were like, "I don't think that's the case, and I disagree, and I present this story as an example."
Yeah.
Basically.
No, that's completely fair, because like there's, I don't want to give any spoilers like obviously for Harmot, but like there's truly awful stuff that happens to some male characters that like we've
Mhm.
already been introduced to, that like is described in some detail. You can see the end result of what's happened, but you don't
It's like
hear about it.
implied.
It's more, a lot more of it is implied than like
Yeah.
given in that level of graphic detail. Like I understand the reasoning in that scene, but even for that, it's so over the top graphic.
Yeah. That's kind of what I meant too, is like, it's obviously like it wouldn't be in the story if it wasn't purposeful, but it's just like they're like,
It's like I get it. I get like
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I
the story,
understand.
I can understand its relevance, but
Yeah.
the amount of details in the story, I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
get.
This could have been done differently. I feel like there is totally a way the story could have been told without, and still had the same impact, but not as much. Like
it feels gore. It feels gory somehow.
yeah, and just yeah, it does, and just not had that same level of like gore, but still had that same like emotional impact that it was supposed to have to like move you to be on Arya's side. But
well, like the
I don't know.
like the characters that I'm talking about, like with the like stuff that happens later on, even though all of that stuff is implied, even if it is heavily implied, you still feel the
Yeah,
horror of it. You still feel
totally.
like the
Mhm.
impact. So yeah, it's entirely possible, and it's within the scope of like his skill as a writer, and
Yeah.
it's so, which is what makes that scene feel like so gratuitous and kind of like outside its function in the story exploitative, of just like look at how openly gross and horrible this world is. I'm being this is realism, like
Mm. Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable to read. It's really uncomfortable.
Yes to all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, now we've got to the end of this chapter.
I feel slightly more justified in not remembering anything else from this chapter.
Yeah, it's fair. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I should
No,
have like been more understanding.
It's okay. No,
but
it's okay.
but like his death is kind of like that, like, you know, kind of release in this chapter.
Totally.
And I kind of expected you to remember it, but okay.
I just remembered the traumatic part of it. Okay, I did not remember the like. Okay,
it sticks with you.
Yeah.
It does stick with you.
Okay, so let's talk some predictions. Who do you think she's gonna name for her next two names?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I am staying within the realm of like nearby possibilities.
Okay.
I think she will do. Sorry?
I was gonna say, actually, do both who you think she will and who you want her to.
Ooh, okay. Oh, okay. I want her to do like Tywin and Gregor, cause
Okay.
get him out of the way.
Alright. Who do you think she will?
Okay, but no, that's fine. Because I was like, oh, then someone else will take over. But I was like, they won't be as well suited to it, so it's fine. Like, we'll still get that little bit of an advantage.
But that's what you want. What do you think?
Yeah. What do I think? I do think that she will I think she'll do the mountain. And I think if she wasn't so I don't think she'll do Wheeze, because I think she's, like, slightly more desensitized to that. Because for that, like, you know, obviously he, like, abuses her, but I think she's a little bit more, like, desensitized to that, so I don't think she'll do Wheeze. So, mountain and maybe, the Kingsguard dude.
Kingsguard dude. Okay,
What's his name?
What?
There's a lot of them. The
Sir Meryn?
Meryn, yes, him.
Sir Meryn's the
No,
one
no, no,
who
not
killed
Meryn, not Meryn, sorry.
Syrio.
No, I'm looking at...
Who else is the Kingsguard?
Lorch.
Amory Lorch. He's not on the
Yes.
Kingsguard.
I confused him with Meryn, who is on the Kingsguard, right?
Yes, Meryn is on the Kingsguard.
I had them confused as the same person.
Okay, so you think the Mountain and Amory Lorch.
Yes.
All right, those are, like, I would understand both of those choices.
Yeah. They're not bad choices.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say something, but I shouldn't. Keep coming upon things I want to, like, say that would kind of slowly suggest things, but not really give them away. But I should not do even that. So I
think you should. I think that would be great for the listeners. I think the listeners would want to hear you do that.
Okay, wait. Question. How will people react to, you know, whether it's the Mountain and Amory Lorch who die, or whoever she picks? How will people react to their deaths? Like,
what depends on how they die.
Depends on, like, I mean, what's his name? Chad, whatever. Chad, like, nobody cared about Chad, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, he fell, like, oh no, you know? But, like, for example, if Tywin dies, like, I think a lot of people are gonna be reacting a lot of ways. I think, like, the Lannisters will definitely have a fun time trying to fight each other to take his power.
Okay, wait, Lannisters who? There's a lot of Lannisters. Like,
okay, wait. Who's the guy who's leading the other Lannister? Who's training the new Lannister army?
That's his cousin.
Okay, that's his cousin. What about his...
He's got a brother,
right?
Yeah, Kevin Lannister. I don't know where Kevin is right now. Maybe he's with, like... The last time we saw him, he was with Tywin, but I don't know where he's at right now.
So I don't think the Lannisters will be happy, but I think there will also be a sense of, ooh,
an opportunity. So, like, you think his brothers, cousins, whoever is going to try to take over?
Yeah, and then, I mean,
you know who would be his heir, though? Like, technically? Tyrion.
I was gonna say, is Tyrion older?
No, but Jaime's a Kingsguard, so he can't inherit.
Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. But Tyrion's not gonna. But Tyrion would probably give it to someone who's capable. You know, if
what, you don't think Tyrion's capable?
No. I don't think Tyrion would want to do that. I don't think Tyrion wants to lead the fucking army.
Well, that's not all that comes with being a lord. That's like...
Yeah, I think he'll take the position, but I think he'll, like, delegate.
Okay, like, yeah, I guess. Okay,
well, because it's like, it's the difference between, like, if Tyrion were to inherit, like, the, like, lordship of Casterly Rock in peacetime versus, like, right now. Like, in peacetime, I think he'd be fine with it.
So you don't think he would be a good war leader?
I don't think he would want to be.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he doesn't want to be a war leader. That one time he had to fight in the war, he did not enjoy that.
That was like fighting in the battle, but he could be like behind the scenes directing the battle.
No, I don't see him wanting to do that. He likes the power play, like, politician-y side of it, not the leading people into war part.
I think you're right. I think that his political acumen is stronger than, like, his battlefield, like, strategy, because that's a very different skill set, and I don't think it's something that he, like, that he would have personally focused on growing up, and I don't think it's something that would have been, like, forced on him to try to understand. Like, I don't think Tywin really, like, wants to deal with the fact that Tyrion is going to inherit his shit.
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that now. I think I was confused by some of the phrasing, but yes, when you put it that way, I agree with you. Okay.
No, I think he'd be very happy with like the political power plays. I don't think he
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be bad with battlefield stuff. It's just not what he's like trained for.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. Will Arya ever get out of this place?
Man,
Nope, she spends the rest of the series in Harrenhal. Spoilers.
I think in this book, like, she's like, ooh, get me to River Run. Yeah, I think that's all lost. I think she'll be here for a while.
Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions I have for now. Haley, do you have any questions for Harmouth?
No, I'm enjoying seeing you on this journey, especially at this point in the journey.
Yeah. All right. Well, an hour and 15 minutes in, we should move on to the second chapter.
All right.
There's a lot to talk about with Arya.
Yeah. Okay.
This chapter, there is bickering, and there's wait, I don't want to use that word. And there is incapability, and there is that's my emotion from this chapter.
Yeah.
And I'm reading it and I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, no, it's really the whole thing.
And it were really this chapter. You know what it was? You know when you're like sitting in a meeting and you're like, this could have been an email. That's this chapter. That's this chapter. I'm like, literally. You did nothing. You really hyped us up. Catelyn's like, ooh, I'm gonna like try and make peace between them. We'll see if it works. It might not work because they're both headstrong and stubborn and all these different things, but like, we'll try, maybe there's hope. And then the end of the chapter happens and you're like, literally nothing happened.
No
I
progress
wasted.
was made.
I mean, the whole chapter is just like an attempt that had to be made, like just to say honestly, I did.
Honestly, you know what I think? I think,
what?
I don't know if this is a hot take because I don't know anything.
Okay.
But I don't think that Renly, like, clearly they don't want to make peace because they're like, I want to be king. Like, they don't want what comes with making peace. But I don't think Renly even wanted to try.
No, he wasn't taking it seriously.
Yeah, I honestly believe that Renly wants to fight Stannis just to be like, I defeated my brother. I don't think he wants Stannis to bow down to him. I think he wants to fight Stannis and then defeat him. And there was a couple points in this chapter that made me think that, so I'll probably bring
them up when they come up.
I will.
Yeah.
So we start this chapter, and Catelyn and Hallis Mullen are riding up to the meeting spot, and Mullen says, "We are the first, my lady." And I only say that, Haley, because we've noted that he is known for stating the obvious, and this is like his one characteristic, this dude.
No one else is here.
Yeah, that is all, like, every time you meet him. Yeah, that's all he does is state the obvious. Like, he has no other personality trait.
Honestly, that's a funny. I enjoy his personality trait.
He's exposition, the character.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's see.
Yeah, we get a little bit of like the surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And like some
Stannis has cut down the trees to build his siege towers and machinery and whatever.
Yeah, we get some lore on Storm's End, which basically sounds like the Swamp King from Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail. It's like, and then I built another castle, and then that fell into the swamp. So then I built a third one, and then that burned down, fell over, and then sank into the swamp. But the fourth one stayed up.
But father, I don't want a castle.
But I don't like her. What's wrong with her? She's rich. She's got huge tracts of land.
Too good.
But in this case, it was the 7th castle that stood, and it's been here since.
Yeah, so I love this tale. So it's the first Storm King, Duran, I think.
Duran. Sorry.
Now I gotta say it in a different way so I don't think about that every time.
No, say it Duran Duran the entire time.
Well, so Duran falls in love with the daughter of the sea god and the goddess of wind, whose name is Eleni.
Eleni?
I was saying Elena.
Elena.
Yeah.
Ellen.
Ellen. All right.
Ellen.
Ellen of Troy. Okay. And you know, on the night of their wedding, by yielding her maidenhood to a mortal man's love, she dooms herself to a mortal death. So, like, that's what makes her mortal, is like having sex with.
Yeah, you didn't know that. You didn't know that vagina virginity is like specifically magical, and if you fuck a non-human thing, you become that thing, and if you're non-human and you fuck a human, you become a human. You didn't know that?
Well,
that's
now
how that
I
works.
do. So her parents get real mad because she's mortal now, and they crush this dude's wedding family. Like it's like their wedding night. Like that night, the gods crush his whole family and collapse the walls and whatever. And he's like, well, okay, no, sorry, I was gonna. No, don't say it. Okay, move on.
And then I built another castle, and then that fell into the swamp. It's so literally the same story.
It is, yeah. So he just keeps building larger, stronger castles until the 7th one, which is finally the gods cannot break it. And it's said that the children of the forest helped him build it. Or this small boy who turned out to be Bran the Builder helped him build it.
Yeah, and all of his lords kind of wanted him to just, like, maybe build it somewhere, like, anywhere else?
Like, anywhere else,
Anywhere else. Possibly maybe not, like, directly on the edge of the sea where it can get you.
Yeah, what is that bay called? Like, the Shipbreakers Bay?
Shipbreaker Bay,
Yeah, like, that's literally the name of the bay.
Nope, it's free real estate.
But if he's the Lord of the Stormlands, he's got of the real estate is his real estate.
Yeah, but he wants that piece.
Yeah, I guess. So he builds the castle, and it's like 100 feet high, like curtain wall, and in some place, at its narrowest, the wall is 40 feet thick. At its narrowest.
Like what?
Oh my God. 80 on the seaward face. So
wow.
I can't even, like, how
what?
that's the width of a house. Yeah. But it's just a wall.
Yeah. How do you what?
Yeah, this castle is.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
this castle is quite literally built different. Like, it's not even just a thing you say anymore. It's built different.
It really applies this
This is where that came from, guys.
I mean, seriously, like, so many of the structures in this are just, like, really implausible. And, like, this is what, like, if you ever seen, like, a real castle or, like, old-timey fortress, they're big, but they're not like this.
Yeah, no. And George R. R. Martin has kind of admitted that he doesn't have a good sense of scale. He's admitted, like, he didn't realize how high 700 feet for the wall would be. He thought it would be like 3 or 4 stories, but it's 700 feet. Like, he doesn't really get scale very well. And maybe this is
just pick a big number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, 40 sounds cool. 700, why not?
Oh, that's funny.
That's that. Oh, also, I wanted to later on I'm gonna send you a picture of. I found this picture of Harrenhal, this illustration of Harrenhal, and it's like showing Harrenhal, the castle next to the lake, and there's a boat in this lake, and you think, oh, it's like a rowboat, but then in the caption it says a ship sails
yeah, like you said.
A ship sails to Harrenhal, and it, like, you think it's a little rowboat, but it's a ship, like, that's how
Right,
huge
but
the
in
castle
comparison,
is.
it just looks damn. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like all of these, like, oh, Harrenhal's the biggest. Well,
They're all
Storm's
big.
End. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're all the biggest.
Yeah, like they're all the biggest in like one way or another, and like this is his overkill again, where it's like, I get it, it's a hard castle to besiege, I get it.
Yeah. And I
40
remember, like,
feet thick.
yeah, I remember when we first like saw the Eyrie and we were like, what? How do you what? But now there's so many places where you're like, how do
Yeah,
you
but at least he makes them unique in their own way. Like Harrenhal
Yeah.
is like big in size. This is big in like defense. Yeah. The Eyrie is like just so high up and like
they're all hard to attack in different, like, you can't get to the Eyrie because you physically can't get to it. Like Harrenhal, it's just like, it's too big to hold. Like, even if you take it from someone else, it's just there's too much of it to really like, you got to start outsourcing your staff from prisoners of war. That works out great. Like, invariably.
At some point, most of the people in the castle are gonna be people who hate you, and then what?
Yeah, exactly. And like this place, it's just like perfectly smooth 40-foot thick apparently walls and like one actual building inside. It's just like it's just a wall and then a column.
Yeah. So yes, it's cool and it's big and whatever. Moving on. Oh wait, I was gonna say, in comparison to all these kind of like castles of the kingdom, the Red Keep, which is like the main capital castle, is kind of like boring, you know?
It feels like a normal castle. There's like I grew up in Washington D.C. and like on the National Mall there's like it's kind of like the Capitol building at one end and then like the Washington Monument at the other, and then this long green just like lawn, and to either side you've got like museums and galleries and like all the Smithsonian's, but the oldest building on there is the Smithsonian Castle, which is like this red building that it just looks like a castle. It was like the first museum and now it's kind of their headquarters. So it's like mostly administrative offices, but there's like a nice garden around it. But it really, like, if you look up like the Smithsonian Castle, it looks like Maegor's Red Keep. But like that's what I always picture.
Yeah. Compared to all these fantastical castles, it's just a castle.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally Stannis rolls up and you know, Catelyn's noting that Renly was like, I'm gonna wait until Stannis shows up to even get on my horse.
Gotta make an entrance.
Yeah. Such a drama queen. And she's noting that he's wearing a crown of red gold.
Renly's somehow like a jock and a theater kid at the same time. Like, you know, he's like
is he a jock though?
He has jock energy.
Yeah.
But then he's like if theater kids were like as popular as jocks.
Yeah.
Kind of like a weird somewhere in there.
Yeah,
I
don't get like fighter vibes from him, but like he's so like confident. Like he doesn't have like the self-consciousness, like the self-deprecating edge that most theater kids have. He's just like, hell yeah, I'm Renly and I'm here.
You're glad to be in my company.
Yeah, totally.
So, okay, Stannis, on the other hand, nobody's glad to be in his company. And he's got his fancy crown with like points in the shape of flames, and he's got his fancy sword he's wearing.
He's got a new sigil.
Exactly. He's got a new sigil.
He's rebranded himself.
Oh,
new year, new him.
Totally.
Yeah, but I feel like this is like a regression in a way, because he's like rebranded himself to be like more religious.
So
like
Facebook
extremist.
Becoming meta, like it's it's not a change for the better, dude.
No,
you're convincing no one.
Yeah, so it's his new sigil is a is the burning heart of the Lord of Light, as Melisandre puts it,
Love
with a
that.
little tiny shrunken little stag in the middle of it that nobody can even see. And he shows up, they like nod to each other, and yeah, he's like, sorry for your loss, even though I didn't like Ned. And she's like, what? You had every reason to like Ned. He saved you. And he's like, because he had to.
Okay, but people don't even do. That's a big
That,
deal in this
yeah.
world.
At
Doing what you're
least he did
supposed to
what he
do.
had to. Like, to Stannis, he's all like, I'm king because I should be. And Ned did his thing because he should. Like, he should
Yeah.
respect that more, I feel like.
Right, yeah.
But he's bitter that Ned got to be Hand and not him, and
Oh my gosh.
all of that. And he's like, "Oh, I'll if your kids are found when I take the city, I'll return them to you, alive or dead."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, what about that city? You know, it's way over there, closer to where you live. Why are you here?" And
Fair.
he's just like, "Okay, I like that you're frank. Frankly, I need all those men that Renly's got, and I'm here to take them from him." And Catelyn's like, yeah, well, they chose to be with him. Why would they, change over to you or whatever? And
I mean, like, yeah, like Stannis is very lawful and like grumpy that no one else is being as lawful as him, and also like very aggressively doesn't give a shit what anyone thinks about him, but also is like equally aggressively bitter that no one likes him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nav said this like the last time we talked about Stannis too, pretty much just in different phrasing.
Yeah.
Like
he hates that people don't love him, but he doesn't do anything for people to love him. It's just
well, he shouldn't have to. He's doing his duty, and they should follow him anyway. Buddy, that's not how charisma works.
That literally no situation will you ever just like have that happen to you unless you just like get really lucky. Like you gotta do things to get things. I don't know if you were like familiar with that, being born in a royal household and everything.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm the rightful heir. I am the king,
down.
blah blah blah. She's like, oh my god, this is such a not a waste of time, but she's like, oh, this is hard. But I gotta try to move him anyway. And she brings up Rob. I was gonna say Robert, but no, Rob. She brings up Rob and is like, hey, my kid's a king too, but he's actually helping people. And he's like, oh,
which is why he's a king now, actually. If you've considered this.
Yeah, and Renly shows up and he's dressed like, his finest. He's wearing his crown and his green whatever, and he looks great, as opposed to Stannis, who's like mostly dressed plainly. And Brienne is the one who is carrying his banner, which is the traditional Baratheon banner. And Renly rolls up and is like, is that you, Stannis? Are we sure about this? And he's like, who else would it be? But then it's like, oh, your banner is different, but it's a good thing, because if we both fight with the same banner, the battle will be terribly confused.
Honestly, fair point.
That is a fair point. That's the point. Yeah. That's the entire point of banners in a battle.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, no, it's like, not to digress too much, but like, I live in Richmond, so there's a lot of people who talk about like the Confederate battle flag, and like it's stupid, but like for the 4 years that the Confederacy existed at all, they went through like 5 different flag designs because they kept going with a red, white, and blue theme, and like unless the wind was really up and like snapping the flags back, you couldn't tell who was who.
That's funny.
So that's why they had to keep coming up with designs. Like that's one of several that they ended up coming. For some reason, people have just latched onto that one, and
that's
like
funny.
yeah. Yeah, it is. It
Oh
would
my
actually be super confusing if they were using the same banner.
Oh my.
Yeah. Okay, well, in that case, point for Stannis. And okay, so Catelyn's like, what is with this? Can y'all just get along? And Stannis says, oh, all those who deny that I'm the king are my foes.
Oh
And
my.
Renly goes on this thing, the whole realm denies it. No one wants you for their king. And then he says, sorry. Like, I imagine him saying it in like really really petty way.
Yeah, it
Oh
really
my
is just like
goodness.
old men deny it with their death rattle, and unborn
Yeah.
children deny it in their mother's wombs.
You
They
really had to
deny it.
rub that in.
Yeah, they deny it in Dorne, and they deny it on the wall. No one wants you for their king. Sorry. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's so funny. But like also like buddy, this is not making things better. Like
no,
what are you
Renly
doing?
is for sure like not even trying.
Yeah, and
Okay.
especially like when he brings up the peaches thing, I was like, you know your brother, right? Like you realize that all that's gonna do is just infuriate him. And
We'll
it's
get
like
to the peach. We'll get to the peach. Hold on. That peach deserves its own.
its own moment. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, we get a little recounting of like who's who and who's where. So, Tywin's at Harrenhal. He's got 20,000 people. The rest of like Jaime's people have regrouped at the Golden Tooth, and the cousin Lannisters gathering another host at Castle Rock, and then there's the
Maybe
Lannisters and
maybe that's where Uncle Kevin is.
maybe, yeah. So yeah, she's like, all these people are we've got a common foe. Let's band together already.
Yeah.
And they're just still on their bullshit, like, I'm older, I'm better. Renly's like, I'm younger, bolder, and far more comely. Like, ugh, this.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
He's so humble. I love
I know, right?
it.
Catelyn calls him
Yeah.
out on it too.
Yeah, she does.
yeah, and she gets really frustrated, and she's like, listen to yourselves. If you were sons of mine, I would bang your heads together and lock you in a bedchamber until you remembered that you were brothers, which is
Honestly,
such a great line.
Yeah.
Which is, they're exactly acting like children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they super
really
are. I keep expecting her to like shove them into like this is our get along shirt. Like they certainly wouldn't have turned out like this if she had been their mom.
Yeah, well, didn't their parents die when they were really young?
Yeah.
Or at least Renly was really young, so
Yeah.
Stannis couldn't have been that much older. Yeah, so blah blah blah, I'm king, no I'm king. And
then Catelyn's like, bro, you're so concerned with being right, but technically Joffrey's king. Like, what are you on about?
you're
And then
fond
she
of
finds
calling
out.
everyone else a traitor.
Yeah.
You are a traitor as well. And this is when Renly's like, oh, she missed your funny little letter, Stannis.
Yeah.
And he tells her, like, oh, the Stannis claims that Joffrey and them kids are not Robert's kids and all of that.
They had a whole thing on Maury. Is that
They had-
that a reference that you guys?
No.
It was like this stupid show. Like Maury was like the host, and it was like a reality show where it was like this is before paternity tests, so
Right.
they like if a pregnancy or child's parentage was in question, it was like a whole breakdown of like whose is it, and like at the end it was always like either like you are the father or you are not the father. It always like devolved into a fight.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it was garbage TV.
The things
funny.
that we will turn into like entertainment.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. But basically Renly's like, can you prove this story? And Stannis doesn't really say anything to that. And this is like actually the first time Catelyn's heard of this, and she's like, what she's like,
would even Cersei bang her twin brother?
Yeah, like, yeah, would even Cersei
Yeah.
be so, what is the word she uses?
I believe mad.
So mad, yeah. And then all Stannis does in return is grind his teeth, which is like,
Stannis
That's his
grounded.
personality trait.
Yeah. And we find out that, like, because so far, like, it kind of, like, the way the story implied it was like, ooh, Jon Arryn knew what was going on, and Stannis was somewhere along there, a part of it. But Stannis kind of says, like, oh, I brought my suspicions to Jon Arryn, and,
Yeah.
like, I was so, like, he played a bigger kind of role in it than I had initially assumed. And, he said, like, oh, I didn't want to, like, go to Robert with it, because it would just look like I was doing it for my own benefit to be, like, next in line. But, you know, I thought he would believe Jon Arryn, because he, like, you know, actually cares about Jon Arryn and no one cares about me, you know. His whole little thing.
And Renly's like, oh, so I guess we have the word of a dead man. And this is when Stannis is like, who do you think killed him? Cersei had him poisoned because he was gathering evidence. And, okay, so at this point in the story, so when Tyrion first got to King's Landing, he confronts Cersei about all the shit she's been up to, right? And she's like, oh yeah, I killed Robert, and you know, it got away with Ned. Joffrey killed him, and she like admits to all her doings. But when Tyrion suggests that she might have killed Jon Arryn, she was like, what? No, even Ned accused me of that, and I don't know what the hell he was talking about. So, according to that, Cersei did not have him poisoned. And I think, Harmouth, your ongoing theory has been that Varys had him poisoned. Yeah, so... Yeah. I just want to, like...
Are you going somewhere with that?
I just want to put all those points together.
Oh, okay.
I mean...
And... Sorry, Haley, what were you going to say?
Well, I mean, it's not like Varys wouldn't be like... I wouldn't put it past Varys to be able to poison someone.
Yeah, but what is Varys' motivation? Like,
what is Varys' motivation ever?
That's a good question. But
we
like,
don't really know. All we know is like his little like, I do what I do for the realm. Like that's literally all we kind of know about his motivations. Like,
okay, so you think he poisoned Jon Arryn for the realm?
Yeah, because I think what we've talked about this a lot of times, but I think like what
I know it was like he wasn't ready for everything to blow up yet, so that's why he poisoned Jon Arryn to like delay the reveal. I think it was what we talked about last time.
Yeah, things were kind of going off, and
so it just kind of happened to work in Cersei and the Lannisters' favor.
He does always have plans within plans, but Catelyn is also mentioning like, didn't Lysa accuse the queen of killing her husband? And
yeah,
like,
but
later
also,
she also accused Tyrion.
Yeah, which was a thing we noted at the time, which was just like she just kind of like, you know, accusing whoever's convenient at the moment.
Yeah.
Like Tyrion's here, sure, he's the one who did it. I'll take my revenge on him.
It was Anne Lannister. I don't know.
It could be any of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
They're blonde. They all look the same to me.
Okay, wait. You know the thing with like the like, I don't know if this is gonna make any sense, but like, you know the thing with like the fostering? Can we go back to that for a second? I know we've talked about that a lot, but like, I know. Okay, he was supposed to be fostered.
So we hear from like Robert and the Lannisters that Tywin was going to foster Robert Arryn. But we hear from other sources like Jon Arryn's own maester and like I think from Walder Frey that Stannis was going to foster Robert Arryn. So like there's two conflicting stories. And I think what we were like we kind of thought it came to like, oh, Jon Arryn wanted his kid to be fostered with Stannis, but after he died, you know, the Lannisters kind of got in there and did their thing.
No, it's like
maybe like, I don't know. This is what was the Kate, what if like, has Lysa like always been this, I like can't remember anything about Lysa anymore, but has she always been like, oh my gosh, nobody take my kid away, or did that just happen like after the whole Jon Arryn thing and now she's like,
we don't really know because we like only see
if
her.
If she's always been this way, like would she go to the lengths of, like, getting her husband killed to, like, avoid the fostering
Oh,
thing?
so you think she poisoned John Aaron?
Could she? Like, I don't know. I just
Would
could.
she do that? Like, would she risk all of,
I
like,
don't know. I don't.
because, like, you
I-
know, if her husband's dead, her, like, protection's kind of gone and she has to flee to the
Yeah.
Eyrie and all of that.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
she
And
seemed
then, like,
she seemed to like being in charge, like at the Eyrie.
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah, it seems like if she had killed him, then like being at the Eyrie would be like a huge risk. But then if she has her son with her, who's now technically the Lord of the Eyrie,
Yeah.
then
And then she can marry someone her own age.
Yeah, that is
Instead
true.
of this,
That is
like,
true.
old man. But
It is
like,
really
at the same time, like, we don't like know anything about her, so I don't know if
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it
Random thought.
it is really interesting that like the whole fosterage thing in this culture is it's almost like a marriage alliance. Like
Yeah.
sending your kid to be fostered somewhere is like second only to a marriage alliance in terms of like a show of trust and an exchange of
Yeah.
power.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally.
That's for sure the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, that's a really interesting theory there, Armin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. We've been talking about Lysa a lot, and I feel like I just haven't thought about her in a while, so now I'm like thinking about her constantly.
No, she's
Right.
she's definitely like a complex character, but like not like a particularly smart character. I don't think
You
she's
can
not.
say that again.
Yeah, no, she's not like a chess master here, but she is really like it's
Yeah.
hard to know at any time like what her motivations are and like how they would have evolved in like the intervening time between like the like Robert's rebellion when all of this was kind of set up and like now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you raise good points.
Yeah. What were we actually talking
Uh, just
Yeah,
this.
just like they were giving each other a recap on like where everyone
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, basically,
yeah.
Catelyn's putting the pieces together like, oh, it would make sense if, you know, the kids were bastards, and even my sister accused the queen of killing John Aaron, blah, blah, blah. So then, Renly's basically like, who cares? You may have the better claim, but I have the better army, so...
Here's
and
a
then
peach.
he like reaches into his pocket and Stannis is like, oh my god, he's gonna attack me, and he pulls out his sword, but instead Renly pulls out a peach and he's like, want a peach?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I want a peach. I want a peach, Renly.
How is that? How far are they from the reach that he has a peach and it's still good? Like that was an unintentional rhyme, but like, have you ever?
True.
You know, peaches like when they're in season, it's like 2 days.
Yeah, they go bad real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
how long have you had this peach, dude?
Okay, don't get me stuck on the logistics.
Sorry.
This peach moment is
I
too
always,
good.
I always get stuck on the logistics, but
Well,
no,
I
this
do
peach
too.
moment is incredible.
Yeah, but this moment outdoes all the logistical concerns
it
for
was-
me.
It's like, you know what? He has a peach. Screw it. I don't care.
Yeah, it's just too good.
He has a peach.
And
But this was the first kind of moment where I was like, he knows this is gonna make Stannis
Provoke
even
him.
more mad, you know? Like, I don't know. It just feels like he's intentionally pushing Stannis'
Oh,
buttons.
absolutely.
And he knows where all those buttons are. And I just feel
Yeah.
like with Renly's like, ooh, I'm a show-off, I'm a theater kid vibe, like, I would not be shocked if he was like, I want to face Stannis on the battlefield because I'm confident that I have the men and I can do it. Let's battle, bye. You know? And then I'll go over to
right.
King's Landing. So I don't
But
know.
they have also been talking for a while, maybe like when he first got here, if Stannis had like right then and there been like, okay, fine,
Right.
I'll let you be king, he would have been like cool with
That's
it. But
true, yeah.
like at this point he knows Stannis won't give up, so he's like, I have no reason to really beg you for it, you know?
I think he knew, like, going in that Stannis wasn't like he knows what Stannis is like as
We
a
all know what
person.
Stannis is like.
Yeah, like it's pretty. Like he has just a very clear pathology as a character, and I think Renly, like, that's why Renly isn't really taking this seriously because, like,
yeah, that's true.
Catelyn doesn't really know either of them very well, but she's still like, I. Fingers crossed that I can get these two to talk like rational
Yeah.
human beings, and Renly's like, absolutely fucking not, lady.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So Stannis did not come here to eat fruit, and
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 he
Renly's like, oh, you
says,
should never refuse a peach. You may never get a chance again.
ooh. And like at this point he has like a 1 second where he's like serious. He's like, okay, dude, like I've never liked you, but like I don't want to like fight you, so like if you want Storm's End, like here you go, like bye,
Yeah.
like take it. And he's like, it is mine, you can't give it to me if it is mine. I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all need to just like calm down and stop, like ugh.
Like he
then-
looks
Yeah.
he looks at Brienne and he's like, what am I to do with this brother of mine, Brienne? He refuses my peach, he refuses my castle, he shuns my wedding.
Yeah. And then to this, Stannis says that, oh, we all know that your wedding was a sham because you were planning to marry her off to Robert last year.
Oof.
And Renly's like, well, that was last year, but now she's married to me, and you'll be pleased to know
Ugh.
she came to me a maid. And then Stannis says, in your bed, she's like to die that way. What do you think that means, Harmouth?
I have not, I don't know. I had
Well,
not thought
think
about
about
that.
it. I'll give you a minute to think about it.
What with his theater kid vibes?
Oh my gosh, is he like fucking he's gay?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I did not put that together at all.
Yeah, well, we'll get like more hints about this later, but like to talk about them, you kind of needed to have come to this conclusion. So
Okay.
he is
Definitely
gay.
did not. I thought it was just like a jab at like you suck at sex or something, you know, like I don't know. I just like I completely ignored that.
No, he just sucks at topping.
Yeah, like
I genuinely love Renly. Like,
Yeah.
he's not being like mature here, but like I just love him as a character, and
Yeah,
but, like,
he is very entertaining.
yeah, but I think
Yeah.
that like when
Peach.
like when he comes up like in earlier chapters, like and in the first book, like every
Mhm.
once in a while I remember, because I'd seen the show first, the show is like pretty obvious about it.
Yeah.
And like I remember seeing like catching little side, just like sly little jabs, little double entendres, and being like, oh, so they all know, so they, okay, all right, they all know. But like if you don't know that it's gonna be there, you don't necessarily catch those
Look for it.
things.
Yeah, it's not made obvious like ever in the
Yeah.
series actually. But here we are. And you know, he's like, oh, he plays it off. He's like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll have some sons. Speaking
How
of
many do you
sons,
have?
yeah, you don't have any. And if I had a wife like yours, I would also send my fool to service her. Kind of referencing the story that Littlefinger made up about their
Right.
daughter Charisse being what's his name? Patchface's kid.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then Stannis gets really mad. Enough, he roared, and he pulls out his sword, and it's gleaming red and yellow and white and whatever. And
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but like when the whole like sword ceremony happened, his sword
Mhm.
was not doing that, right?
No, he was like, ouch, ouch, it burned my hand.
Yeah, okay. So this is a new development that we haven't
Yeah.
seen
What
yet.
do you think about this?
This has me a little afraid, because
Like, you think this is Lightbringer?
no, I do not
Okay.
think it's Lightbringer. But I
Then
think
why is it so
Magic.
why is it
fancy?
like I Melisandre's doing something, I think.
Magic is afoot. Witchcraft.
Yeah,
It's
like-
witchcraft.
Like there's something we don't know about what Melisandre is capable of. That's just
Right.
where this takes me. So I'm like, you know, and like obviously we'll talk about this later, but it's like, okay, yeah, like looking at the numbers, we're like, okay, Renly has more people, but like on
Mhm.
one hand, like he doesn't have all of his people here, like he didn't bring all of them, he wasn't thinking this through.
He still has 4
And-
times what Stannis has.
Yeah, but like Stannis has magic.
Like
It's
Stannis has
a good
magic and
point.
also like experience. Like Renly is really just
Yeah.
thinking this is a numbers game, and it's not
Yeah.
always. And
And
like
he's
that's
giving like, for example, he gives he gives one of the things to Loras, and he's like, "Oh, you're the best knight. You should do it." And I'm like, "But he's never fought. He's a fucking child." And there was someone who was like, "Oh, I was leading the
Vanguard.
Vanguard, thank you. I led the Vanguard for this other dude." And I was like, "Why would you give it to someone who's only fought in tourneys over someone who's literally led a Vanguard?" So I don't think he's making smart decisions here.
You might do that if you're having sex with that person.
Holy shit. Oh my gosh!
Hey, wait.
His obsession with Loras!
Who's Loras' sister again? Oh, wait, right. She's married to Ren. Oh, right. Yeah, how's that?
Why is there so much fucking,
Fucking.
Yeah, you can stop there. Why is there so much fucking?
Oh my god! How many family affairs are gonna happen in this fucking series?
Well, this is not well, I guess he's his,
it is
brother-in-law
a family
now.
affair.
Yeah.
It is a family affair.
But it's not like he's had sex with his wife, so is it really family affair?
I refuse to cheat on my boyfriend by sleeping with my wife who's his sister. Honestly, it's amazing he's relaxed as he is right now, considering the situation.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. Okay, so Catelyn's like, "Oh my god, these people." Cersei's probably laughing herself breathless, and the last time we saw her, she was laughing herself, because they just got news of them fighting, and she was like, "Oh my god, this is the best day of my life." Yeah, and totally. They had her and Tyrion had a bonding moment for the first time ever. Probably last time ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry. At this point, Stannis points his shining sword. How many times have I done that this episode?
Specifically with the word sword, too.
Okay, shining sword at his brother and says, "I am not without mercy," thundered he who was notoriously without mercy. That was such a good sentence.
Oh my.
So he's like, "Okay, for the sake of the mother who bore us, I'll let you rethink. You have until dawn, and then if you yield, I'll give you Storm's End, and I'll make you my heir even until I have a son or something. Otherwise, I shall destroy you." And Renly's like, "Ha, see ya," and leaves. No, this is not when he leaves, actually. This is when he recounts all of the houses that are backing him and is like, "All these folks I've got, they will fight for me and will win," and blah blah blah. And then Stannis is like, "Okay, we'll see." And he puts his sword away. Come the dawn, we shall see. And he leaves.
Okay, I want to point something out. Melisandre, she doesn't say anything this entire time. And the one thing
at the beginning she says, "Oh, the king has taken the fiery heart of the Lord of Light for his..."
Oh, I
that she said that.
That was before they even started conversing, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was at the very beginning.
Right. Because I was just thinking, man, she didn't say anything the entire time, and the only thing she says is a threat to Renly. And I was like, is Renly about to die?
Look at your own sins, Lord Renly.
Mic drop.
Is Renly about to die? I'm scared for his life.
Yeah, I mean, the more the more confident someone seems, the more you worry about them in this series.
Yeah, especially and why would an entertaining character be ever survive?
You know, especially if it seems like things are going really well for them.
Right.
Well, things weren't going too well for Ned ever. So
yeah, but
it was just a sad fuck.
Honestly.
Yeah. So
I feel when we watch the show, we're I don't think Ned is gonna smile ever. It'll be a Stannis moment where he's just I need to deal with this problem.
I'm counting the times I can remember him smiling.
Yeah.
Really?
I can only remember one where he's like talking to Arya and he's like,
It's like exclusively with his kids.
Of
yeah,
course, yeah.
Yeah, maybe sometimes when like Robert isn't being an asshole once or twice.
yeah,
I think that's it though.
Right.
Yeah, no, he's
yeah.
just I mean, he's just Sean Bean and grouchy. Just grouchy Sean Bean vibes.
Yes. Harma doesn't know what that means, so we're just gonna move on.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they leave and Friendly's like, "Oh, it grieves me that it must come to this." And Kathleen's like, "You
Mm.
have a cheerful way of grieving."
Yeah,
And
see? He wants to fight him, man.
yeah, he's like she's like, "Oh, maybe Joffrey is a bastard. What then?" And he's like, "Yeah, what if like he's only the lawful heir while he lives?" Uh and he's like, "Oh, this law is kind of stupid. Not
Eh,
not the greatest law cuz like why the oldest son who gets to be the heir, why not the best suited?" Which raises the question.
no, agnatic primogeniture is not like a great system of inheritance.
Yes, but like how do you choose who's the
Who's the
most
best
suited?
fit?
Oh, okay.
Like
So
who's
there, okay, I can actually answer this question. So I might actually have said agnatic wrong because so like primogeniture is just like
the
your
firstborn?
firstborn son specifically.
Well,
I
male preference
I think I
primogeniture.
think that's what agnatic means, but like I always get it
I don't know.
backwards. But you've got primogeniture as in like the oldest child regardless of
Mhm.
gender,
Gender.
and then you've
Yeah.
got like male preference primogeniture, which is what
Yeah.
people think of as like, oh, that was all of history all of the time in every culture. No.
Right.
Um but I think agnatic might actually be where it's all from like one family that like claims descent from a particular like uh ancestor, but
Mhm.
when like the person who's in charge dies or abdicates or what have you, everyone who's like eligible kind of meets up and votes on who's going to be next.
Okay.
So
Oh.
that is
So,
like a way that you can do it.
yeah. Okay, so if that was the way it was done, I would be behind it for sure. um would Renly be behind that?
I feel like he'd be more behind it than, the current system in their world.
Right.
I think
Okay.
Renly would, because Renly's like, I think we've talked about this before. Renly would be like, if Renly becomes king, things will seem like they're okay. Things will seem better, whether they actually are or not. So I feel like he would be good at like convincing people, like, oh, this will be great, guys.
He has strong charisma. I think that I think that if Renly was working on like a political campaign where like
Yeah.
voting was involved,
Mhm.
he would be like, oh yeah,
He
I
would be very
much
popular.
prefer this
100%.
to war. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
because he would
After
know
all,
he can win.
yeah, he is strong yet generous, clever,
Oh,
just,
stop.
diligent,
Stop.
loyal, capable of forgiveness, patient.
Humble.
I just love when
Yeah.
Catelyn's got like this is like the only kind of sense of humor she's ever displayed, really.
True.
Um
Otherwise, it's just like, I'm used to grieving.
yeah,
I will
and even
continue
like
to
later
grieve.
she's like, "Oh, time to return to Riverrun to watch my dad die. I may be a poor envoy, but I am a good mourner."
Yeah, I was like, ouch. But that's kind
uh
of what you were saying earlier, Haley. I think about like when, like, if I heard Arya say that, I would like crumble. But because it's like this, like, adult saying it, I'm a little bit more like, okay,
Yeah,
Catelyn. You know,
yeah,
it's like obviously I still like get it. I totally get it, but at the same time, it's like, okay,
it's more like it
she
doesn't hit as
she has
yeah,
more
hard, yeah.
frame of reference, and she's more just like world weary, as opposed to with Arya where it's like, oh no, this is just your, like, you're not even
This is
upset,
the
this is
world.
just your worldview.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Hmm. Yeah, so uh we learned that, like what the numbers are a little bit here. Like Renly came to Storm's End with his like riders, all of his cavalry, but most of his like what is like
most of his like infantry, like the bulk of his
infantry
forces
and supplies
Yeah.
are left behind, so he has to go to battle soon or starve. So not great thinking on his part there. So she leaves. No. Yeah, she doesn't leave. I keep saying she leaves because I see like Hal Mullen's name, but she's just like, oh, he leaves to go tend to our horses, and I'm gonna go talk to Renly even more. And his lords are there in his tent, and they're the older Mathis Rowan, Lord Rowan is like more experienced, and he's like, we have no reason to fight this battle. You know, the castle will hold itself. Let's go take King's Landing.
Yeah.
And Renly's like, yeah, I don't like that opinion. Anybody else got any opinions? And Randall Tarley's like, oh, by the time you're done with them, Stannis may be too strong, so we gotta deal with him now. And everybody's like, yeah. And then Renly's like, yes, I like that opinion. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that idea.
Yeah.
And blah blah blah. Catelyn's like, okay, I guess I don't have anything else left to do here. Can I go? And he's like, no, you cannot. I want you to stay here and watch this battle to see what befalls rebels with your own eyes, so that your son can hear it from your own lips. Yes, exactly.
No, that's not like, from just speaking from like Renly's perspective, that's not a bad idea if it goes in your favor.
Right. He's
assuming
like very
it goes in
confident
your
that it
favor,
will.
as he's assuming. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is when they're like, oh, who's gonna lead the vanguard? And he's like, the Knight of Summer. No, sorry. No, that's Catelyn thinking that they're the Knights of Summer. What does he say exactly? But the greatest glory by rights belongs to the greatest knight. And that's when he's like, Loras, you do this. And Loras is like, okay, give me another knight to carry your banner. And he's like, oh, Brienne will go. And Brienne's like, oh, but I don't want to leave you. And if I must part, can grant me the honor of arming you for battle? And Catelyn's like, oh my god, poor
Babe.
girl. She'd play his squire just to touch him. Which is kind of sad. And he's like, okay, fine, you can dress me. We'll see you later. And Catelyn's like, hey, can I go pray in the next village over? Can I at least do that? And Renly gives her permission, and she's like, oh, you might pray as well. And he's like, for what, victory? And she's like, no, for wisdom.
And he's like, hey, Loras, stay behind and help me pray.
It's been a long time. I've quite forgotten how.
Oh my gosh.
So, pray. Hint, hint. Quote, quote.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, so Catelyn, this is when she finally leaves and meets up with her folks, and Sir Robar Royce has been assigned to escort her to the Sept and back. And she's like, hey, what you doing over here all the way away from the Vale? And he's like, well, I'm the second son, so I gotta find my glory somewhere. And she comes upon her party, and they're like, oh, what are we doing? What are we doing? And she's saying, we pray. And that's the end of that. Whew, I've been talking for so long.
These people are incapable. What are they doing? Like, what are you doing? I don't understand.
So you're talking about the Baratheon bros, both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love if they just like found brains and then like
just like stumbled upon.
No, they're being absolutely irrational.
Yeah. I just imagine what they could do if they like banded together and like
this war would be over.
yeah, like take down the Lannisters and maybe then decide who's
That's
gonna be
fair.
king.
Like I can understand like they don't want to bow down to each other, like I get that, but why don't they just like they're like, hey, let's go fight this guy and then we'll deal with this, or even like just pretend, but like they have too big of egos to pretend, so they would just have to both be like, okay, let's fight them and then you and I can betray each other.
Yeah, but they're too stubborn.
Pull a Loki.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's kind of what Catelyn was trying to get them to. She was like, if you're not going to actually form an alliance, can you just like form an alliance for long enough to beat like your common enemy? And like my son's perfectly willing to like help you with that as long as like he gets
but I think for them it's also like their dumb egos of like, I want to do it too as well. It's like, I don't want your help.
That's what's getting in their way. Like she's trying to tell them like, hey, this would be in both of your best interests. You're not going to win this any other way without like a huge amount of hassle. Like,
and also if they fight, whoever wins, there still be losses. Like you know,
you're depleting
their
your forces.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, they're both being completely irrational. Like they're capable of like being rational, but in this case, they're electing not to be.
Yeah. And there's like 5 other enemies that all of you have to fight no matter what. Like, okay, fine, maybe like you suffer like 25% damage, okay? And then you go to the Lannisters and you get like, let's say only 25% damage, which we all know that the Lannisters aren't only like gonna cause you 25, right? Then you only got like 50. And then let's say you like somehow get to like Theon Greyjoy, you know, and you get like another 25. Like, you know what I mean? There's just too many people. Like you do not, no matter how strong you think you are, Renly, like there's too many enemies. Like there's no
like,
way.
You guys need to be like making alliances, and you're choosing to not make alliances when like you have the chance and it's right in front of you and someone's literally offering.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Neither of them are offering the alliance. They want the other one to, like, give in.
So then they can be like, he came to me, and he begged for my help, and I helped him. Ugh.
Yep.
Get lost.
Pride, man. It'll get you every time.
Okay. Big question. Who's gonna win this battle?
Man. Okay. Either... Here's what I think.
Okay.
I also think, illogically, I would be great friends with them. Just kidding. Either Renly dies, or if Renly doesn't die, then they're still fighting, and like, that... You know where's that second Lannister army supposed to go after they're done training? Like, what are they supposed to do?
We don't know.
Okay, cool. So then the second Lannister army is gonna show up because they're still fighting, they're still vulnerable, and they're gonna kill all of them.
Okay.
Except not kill all of them. They're probably gonna, like, take...
Alright. Okay, let's talk about them one at a time. So, if Renly dies, like, how's Renly gonna die?
Magic.
Okay, well, what does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
Stannis snaps his finger, Renly drops dead all the way over there. Like, does that...
Okay, I think... Okay, so... Okay, let's think about this logically. So what I think is gonna happen, they're gonna start fighting, right? And I don't think Renly has made good decisions at all.
Okay.
And Renly has also never led, like, anybody into battle, as far as I know, right?
I don't think Renly's led anything more than, like, the planning committee of a masquerade ball. I think he's amazing at that. I think he could be good at this if he would listen to someone other than his yes men, but no one can make intelligent decisions when listening to yes men. It's literally impossible.
Right. Okay. So I think that he has a lot of resources, but I think he will just completely deplete them. Because once again, like,
so during the battle he's gonna die, but also die of magic? Like,
no, I'm getting there. I'm trying to think of how this makes sense, because I have not thought this through. Okay, so they're, like, battling, and Renly's losing because of the aforementioned bad decisions, and at the end, it's, like, a showdown between, like, Stannis and Renly, but, like, Melisandre's there, and, like, something happens. I don't know what this lady's capable of, but, like, magic happens and Renly
Okay.
dies. That's the first case
Avada
scenario.
Kedavra.
Something magic sword.
Something. I don't know what she's like capable of. I don't know what like her magic like encompasses, other than like we know that she can drink poison and not die.
Right.
That's like really all that we know.
Maybe she can like make that poison show up in somebody else's body.
I don't think so. That
like
doesn't
she
feel
drinks
on
the poison,
brand.
but Renly dies.
I don't. Maybe no. I don't think so. Or
Okay.
they're fighting. Resources are being depleted on either sides. Everybody's like, "Can you stop fighting? Like we're losing people. Like what are you doing? You're dumb. Or you're making bad decisions." And as they're fighting, the Lan clan shows up, and you're like, hey!
That's our word for the Lannisters. We call them the Lan
The
clan.
Lan clan shows up and does the Lan plan.
That's their whole like strategy. That's the Lan plan.
I feel like you're like translating right now.
Well, these are like specific to us weird inside jokes, so
they are. But yeah, something along the lines of that. I just don't see this being like a simple. I don't see this just being like they fight, someone wins, and then like we move on with our life. I feel like somehow some other army's gonna come in here, or maybe like no, but that wouldn't work.
okay, you gotta voice what it was.
No, because I was thinking like maybe instead of the Lannisters coming in, maybe like that Roose Bolton army comes, but like why would they come? Because whose side are they gonna be on?
Okay,
and, like,
but
why would they
like
show up and
Harrenhal
waste
and King's Landing are in the way of that Roose Bolton army.
Right, because it's there, and then Harrenhal, and then
yeah.
Oh yes! Wow, I forgot how this universe looks. Okay, wait, that would not work. X that.
Okay.
The second Lan army
clan
comes.
Lan clan 2.
Lan clan part 2 comes. See, you're catching on. Yeah, so they come in and they're.
It's like a really bad sequel movie.
Lan clan 2, the Lanning.
Oh my gosh.
So you're sensing a misdirect.
You're so it looks like on the surface it looks like, oh, Renly's got all his things, his ducks in a row, he's gonna win this, but
he's so confident that you're feeling like this is setting some shit up.
Yeah.
And
even if he does like win, he's just not gonna be like the Renly that like Cersei was terrified of showing up because he had like all these resources and all these different things. Like I just feel like either way, this ain't gonna be good.
Okay.
It'll just.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah.
I think you've got George R.R. Martin's number here. Like it seems
you've
like
got him figured out.
Yeah, when he's setting you up for something.
You think.
I don't know. You learn pretty quick like not to trust things in these books.
Yeah. And we've been doing this, like we're only in the middle, like halfway through the second book, but we've been doing this for 2 years almost.
Yeah, no, critical analysis.
It's just such a slow
and critical analysis of anything will like teach you to look out for like the hints that like this is I can tell that this is about to be like a turning point. Like something's gonna happen. I don't know what, but something's gonna happen.
And I used to mention this a lot when we first started, but like it was just it's just one of those things where it's like, especially with this series, like I'm sorry, but like good things don't happen in this series. It's never like, oh, this good thing like magically happened. Okay, cool. Like this is not a feel good.
No,
fun little like.
Anytime something good does happen, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah,
exactly. So this is no.
This is so good. Okay. This was one of the best conversations we've had, especially for this book, because like we're actually like getting into things. There's so much setup. Like it's not as tedious as a setup was in a Game of Thrones, because that was just like us being like introduced to a whole
I
new
was like,
world,
what is
a
this
lot of
book?
people.
I was
Yeah.
we were like halfway through the book, and I was like, I feel like nothing has happened. I don't even know what the main conflict of this book is, and it's been half the book.
It's like a 400-page prologue.
Yes.
It really is.
Okay.
I'm so scared.
All right. Well, you should be.
That's the vibe.
But I think those are good predictions. So the next thing we usually do after we go through everything, Haley, is we predict on the next upcoming chapters. Yeah, so we're gonna do next chapters.
Yeah.
So Harmouth, we're gonna read 2 chapters next time. What are your predictions, or like who do you want to see? All of that.
I literally, okay, I want to see John. John is my like default, because when I don't have anyone that I like specifically
Harmouth is a John fangirl.
I'm not a John fangirl.
You are a John fangirl.
I think John is my like default character, where I'm like, there's no one that I like specifically want to see, so let's go to John.
Okay.
John and Danny.
Okay. Well, you're gonna get neither of them. We're reading chapters 32 and 33 next time. Mm-hmm. And chapter 32 is Sansa. What do you think we'll see from her?
Oh my gosh, I do want to see Sansa! We haven't seen Sansa in so long! Okay, that is good. I want to see Sansa. Sansa, last time we saw her, she was like, she had that like
you got like really loud and excited.
We had that like Godswood moment with the dude
Dantos.
Yes. Dantos? Yeah. That was
really this book?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Sir Dantos. He was like, hey, come meet me in the Godswood. I'll help you escape. And she does. And that was pretty much it.
We will learn about what's been going on. I know we like learn about what's been going on from Tyrion, but I feel like from Tyrion it's
what's been going on, like politically, kind of that.
Yeah, because I feel like from Tyrion it's kind of like we're seeing it from the perspective of the person who's making the things go on. But with Sansa, I feel like we'll like see how it's like affecting other people as well, like just like within actually King's Landing.
Okay. Yeah,
I did not explain that well.
Fair. There's like not really much to predict, because the last time we saw her, Dantos like, I will help you escape, but like not right now. And then
I think we'll just get more like exposition-y stuff.
Yeah, she hasn't been an active character in this book, has she? Like,
no,
she's just
not
kind of
really.
there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe this will be a turning point for her, like it was for Arya.
I would like that.
Okay.
I'm excited to see Sansa. I hope she's, I mean, this might be a little too optimistic, but I hope she's, like, doing okay, ? I don't think she is. I think I'll learn very quickly that, like, she's not. But, like, you know, a girl can hope. I'm hoping that she's not, like, miserable. Like, obviously she's miserable, because, like, Joffrey and, like, everybody, but, like, not, like, as miserable as...
Can be.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, she did have like a depressive episode for a hot minute, so you know we're
hot minute.
Yeah, we're moving on up in the world, I guess.
I don't know.
There's only the only way is up from here. Maybe like she's hit rock bottom. Has she though?
I don't know.
It was optimistic.
Also, like a 12-year-old girl, like that's just the worst experience, really. Like it just being 12 is a nightmare anyway. Like it
truly is, honestly.
It's fucked up.
Sucked.
It did suck. Like and like that was without politics.
That's true.
Yeah. And without fucking Joffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next chapter after that, chapter 33, is Catelyn.
Oh, okay. I swear, I spent like a good 20 chapters being like, Catelyn, and we would not get Catelyn. And now, the one time I'm like, I don't say Catelyn.
But you don't want to find the outcome of this battle?
Oh, no, I do. I just didn't think we would see her again for a while, because she hasn't been as prevalent as she was in the first one.
No, now your Catelyn runneth over.
Yeah,
be careful what you wish for.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, battle info. We will see what happens.
Okay. I did, like, when we saw her at the Battle of the Whispering Wood, it was kind of interesting, her, like, kind of watching it happen or hearing it happen. So
yeah, that was such a good chapter.
That was a good chapter.
That was a really good chapter. And
but also, like, the team we wanted to win was winning. Right. In this, we don't really have a team we're rooting for. Like, who do you want to win? If there were to be one, like, definitive victor of this battle, who do you want it to be?
Not Stannis.
Okay, so Renly.
Yeah.
Also known as Renly.
Yeah, but it's not that I want Renly to win, it's that I want Stannis to lose, so.
Okay.
It's more about not Stannis than it is about Renly. But I don't think Renly's gonna win this, so we'll see.
Okay, then. So I think that's, like, all you can really predict. Haley, tell people who you are, where they can find you, and what they should check out. What do you want to plug?
Oh god, you guys do plugs. Oh no, I wasn't ready.
Well, wait. Well, yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. But I'm Haley. You can find more of my dulcet tones on the restricted section and the movie night crew. The restricted section, as I mentioned earlier, is a critical Harry Potter analysis podcast. We read through it chapter by chapter. I'm a sometimes guest. And I really have to emphasize the critical part. We've gotten to a point where, like, every other episode we're just like, this is a Harry Potter slander podcast. And then movie night crew is just me and my doofy friends on Sundays. It's the same people as restricted section. Watch movies and then talk about them. There's really no more rhyme or reason to it than that. But they're both pretty funny. And
yes, they are. I can attest to that.
Thank you. And then if you want to find me online, if you must, you can follow me on Twitter at TheWrit2Wit.
If you must.
I hate Twitter. Don't get me started. I think it's destroying the world.
Okay. We'll have to get you started after we finish recording.
So yeah, that's where you can find me. And
great.
Yeah. Should I plug something?
You can, of course.
Sure.
Do you have something that has been on your mind that you want people to see?
I've been reading the Darwath books. If you've ever seen the image that floats around online sometimes of a book cover with, like, a wizard sitting in a chair at a kitchen table holding a cracked open beer, like in a modern apartment. I think this is the
same thing you plugged when I was on the restricted section.
Yeah, I'm still reading it, so
so it must be still really good.
It is. I'm just a very slow reader. But it is, like, is it high art? No. But it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
and we need some of that these days, honestly.
Yeah, so Darwath series, it's the rad wizard with the beer can on the cover. You'll know it when you see it.
All right. You can find this podcast on Instagram at Pop Culture Symposium. And our email, of course, is popculturesymposium@gmail.com. And we have a brand new shiny Discord server. Woo! So everybody come join us. We've had a few people on there and the conversations have been, like, Harma doesn't know this because, like, most of the rad conversations happen in the spoilers chat, but
whatever.
It's been popping. I love it.
You know what? Whatever.
But you can talk to Harmeth about non-spoilery things also on the Discord server, so come join us. I'll put the link in the show notes. And do you have anything to plug, Harmeth? Have you been watching, reading something really interesting lately?
Have I? Ooh, okay. I just looked to my right and there's a book that I'm, like, reading right now. I'm like, what have I been? Okay, so there's this poet that I love named Sylvia Plath, and she is so cool. And so I've, like, read some of her poetry or whatever. So this is very much specifically for people who, like, are into poetry. Because she, writes a lot of poetry. But I've been reading her, like, because, you know, like when you're a poet, like everything that you write is just kind of poetry. So I've been reading kind of like the collection of her journals. It's called
Ooh.
The Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath, and it's kind of like just like her journals that she's kept her entire life, that like after she died, her family and I think her husband specifically kind of like put them all together and everything. And it's just like her journals are somehow like affecting me more than like her freaking like poetry. And like, don't get me wrong, her poetry like made me want to like, you know, read her journals, because the thing is, the part where I'm at right now is like, so she started the journals when she was 18 and I'm 18. What did I just expose my age?
That's okay.
Okay.
So you relate to her experiences.
I like everything that she writes. I'm like, man, but she like writes it so poetically, and it's just like she just I just love poetry.
That sounds like a great premise, but also at the same time, if anybody were to ever like publish my journals, I would come back and haunt their ass. Because like, what were you thinking? Like, the journals are supposed to be private, and they're just like, this husband's just decided, oh, I think people will enjoy this. Let me make some money off of it, you know?
That is something that people did a lot in like the early 20th century, like early to mid, was they would keep a journal, and like there was so much stuff going on at various times that like they would
keep a journal with the things going on.
I mean, really, that's, what do you think Twitter is? But like people would kind of go back and sort of edit them and kind of like make them more cohesive and like cut out stuff that was irrelevant. So like the Journal of Anne Frank, a lot of people would be like, why did that little girl didn't want anyone reading her diary, but like actually she was aware that she was living in remarkable times and had already started working on her diary so that she could publish it.
That makes, like, with Anne Frank, it's slightly different. With Sylvia Plath, it seems like, you know, she's like, publishing her journal seems more exploitative than Anne Frank.
Like if she like wasn't intending to, but like maybe she was.
Like if she gave permission, or if she was like, yeah, I would want people to read my story someday, like that's a different thing. Anyway, off on all kinds of things. What do I have to plug? Okay, so I've been planning a trip locally here in Canada, because you can't go anywhere because of this goddamn COVID. And I've been like researching travel, whatever, and I've recently been listening to a new travel podcast. It's called the Travel Mug Podcast, and it's these lovely two people from Halifax. That's one of the places I'm going. So I was like, I'm gonna, you know, listen to a podcast from a local person, and they're really good. So check it out if you ever plan on traveling again, because I don't know. It just seems so impossible. But I think that's everything. So
I don't have anything to say.
You can okay.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being on.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me to come and be on.
Thank you for being here. It was such a pleasure. It was like so fun. We should do this more often.
No, I absolutely had a blast. Thank you for picking such excellent chapters also.
All right. Until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.